Don't you ever say I'm good at debate if you don't even know how. Just try calling it now. Too wordy. Too much. All right. That's enough of that. We'll just go ahead and fade in on the two of us. Though I see Ari frozen. Did you know you're frozen, Ari?
Yeah. I'm so sick of TikTok and its
No, on our end.
ridiculousness.
Toggle your camera.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because you're not in the regular, you're fine in Zoom. Just toggle video on and off, and that sometimes fixes it when this happens before show. We'll see if that does it for us. Well, not so far. Oh, there we go. Huzzah! And now we can see that your focus is on.
Yeah, we'll fix that, though. That one's easy. It's the everything else.
What are you, manually focused? What are you doing?
No, it just reset is all it did.
There are people who do only manual focus. And for the record, like if I was on a professional shoot, as I have been in the past for both video and photo because of my career history, there are times I would definitely use, like, to set a scene, I would use autofocus to nail sharpness at first and then switch to manual focus just to make sure nothing comes in and changes the focus point. But there is a weird thing where there are a lot of people who think autofocus has literally existed for so long. It's really good, guys. You can rely on autofocus. Like it's really good. I like the eye tracking one, the dual pixel eye tracking that like Canon uses a lot. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, everybody, welcome to Calling It Now. Calling It Now, where you can call us now and debate with us or discuss with us or tell us why we're wrong to be leftists who, hey, welcome, Chewed Gum. We're wrong to be leftists who believe that Donald Trump is a ratchet-ass president. In fact, you can call this number right up here, 336-543-2101, 336-543-2101. Standard rate supply, as in like whatever your plan is. We don't charge you anything to call in. But, you know, I think everybody's plan is unlimited now, but I guess there's always that possibility that somebody's calling in with a prepaid 500 minutes and they don't know that their call is going to count toward their minutes. I don't know what you all have burners for. There's lots of good reason to have burners. Not even all drugs. Mostly drugs, but it's not only drugs. How are you, Ari?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, you know, it's been a big day. It's been a long day and a big day, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm excited for in the future, but it can be quite almost intimidating as you're like, ooh, we're about to undertake our next phase of like new shit, expansion, exceptionalism, being the shit.
Being awesome.
Yeah. In theory, we have a new channel that's going to be launching probably within the next month. Potentially, we have another new channel launching in the next month. We likely have a new call-in show launching on The Line, possibly also within the next month. There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot. And the new channel will feature content featuring a lot of the people that you know from The Line and some people you don't, but not in a format. It won't, there might be a call-in element to some of the shows, more for like Q&A style stuff on those occasions, but it is going to be much more where we do debates that aren't call-in debates, where we do like both opponents on the screen. Some of those will still also happen over on this channel. Some of those will happen over on The Line, especially to get started, but we are going to make sure that we have done a good job compartmentalizing where the new content is. So, yeah, just a lot of stuff, and starting with that planning and getting lots of levels of autistic mania of like getting so wrapped up in the, oh my God, and then we could do this, and then we could do this, and we could do this, and we can do that, and we could do this. And I will say we're going to be aiming for the moon. The big plans and stuff are to also separate some things out and give chances for independent growth of certain things. I mean, the line drives me crazy in one regard. The Line gets 1 million hours a month of watch time.
Dang.
So there are a lot of channels that do more views than us, but watch time wise, generally a channel that has less than 1 million subscribers, you aren't hitting our watch time numbers. And then even like channels that do have, there are some that are up there. I brought this up like when we were talking about the debate. Now Euro and Travel doesn't have 1 million subscribers for the record,
No.
but when he first reached out, he was very condescending about how he gets 7 million views a month, and I only get a mere 1 million views on this channel. We do more than that on the other one. And then I got him to send me the screen, his watch time. His watch time is 1/7 mine. So I'm getting 1/7 the amount. He's getting 1/7 the amount of watch time despite having 7 times the views. His average view time is like, it's either like 17 or 23 seconds. I can't remember which number is which. I think his is 17 seconds. No, I think his is 23 seconds and we're 17 minutes is the difference. Average view time. His is 23 seconds. Ours is 17 minutes per person. We would never let it turn into a dumpster fire like modern day debates. Because one of the things that one of the things that we're going to do with this channel is I've come up with ways to make sure there is equitable time. Nobody's going to be able to say like, oh, you're going to mute me. You're going to blah, 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 blah. And they're pretty fun ways. A bit gimmicky, but gimmicks is what sells it. They're pretty fun, these gimmicks I've come up with. We're going to be making sure that sort of time equitability. However, we're never going to not make it clear what side our channel comes down on. And that's going to be the number one thing with that the problem with modern day debates is modern day debates presents it as a, like, we find both sides here to be equal. And we're in the inverse. We're saying, no, come to us. Our audience will probably be hostile to you. We are not trying to build an audience of like half conservatives, half. You'll be able to use the clips or whatever. You can go post the stuff on your end and shit too. So you're still going to be able to use content for your audience, despite the fact that we're going to have it'll be the most superior production quality you've ever experienced. Like those things will exist for your audiences, but we're not going to be like unclear about what we're doing here, like what our goals are. And that's already, I already know modern day jokes debate has become a joke. That's part of my problem with them. Jubilee too. Jubilee wants flat earthers also to subscribe alongside the scientists who are subscribing as like as a flat earther, I feel like that this channel is as welcoming to me as it is to. We're not going to pretend to be neutral grounds. We'll just be neutral in moderation. Except with TOS breaking. If somebody tries to break TOS, we'll probably be doing debates with lesser known people if we allow them on a delay. So if somebody tries to like pull some shit, obviously we're not going to just let that happen. We're not going to be like, yeah, we said we would. So here's your TOS. But yeah, they will get equal time. They will get to make their case. And if they ignore the live chat, they won't even experience the bias that exists on the channel. All they have to do is not look at live chat.
I mean, that's the one thing about TikTok that I'm always just like weird about it, because you bring up guests and of course they still see everything going on, and it's like, okay, yeah, so just don't read the chat. That solves that.
Yeah, and so as we're trying to find out, like, hey, callers, it's easy to call in and talk to us, 336-543-2101. I guess our proposed topic today, but it can be anything you and we disagree on. You can call in on. But I think that Trump was always failing America. I think Donald Trump was always a bad president for America. Now I would add to that, Donald Trump is failing MAGA. I don't think MAGA actually still wants to defend him. And I think that we've actually seen across. At first, I thought it was us. At first, I was like, we are we're kind of dicks. Maybe we're the problem. Literally across the political call-in show spectrum, it's being confirmed more and more, especially the quality, but also the quantity of calls is going down because MAGA doesn't want to defend him right now because he's not defensible.
They don't. Yeah, like they're really trying to hide from everything that he's doing. They want nothing more to do it. Like, sorry guys, we will joke about you saying that MAGA is dead because you aren't existing anymore.
Yeah, you guys have finally found some shame, some of you. But if there are those of you who think we're wrong, call in. The phone number's right there and tell us. Tell us how we're wrong in this perception. Because on my end, before he invaded Iran, there were two things people would bring up, really three. And they already were starting to say okay, I still like him for immigration, but I don't agree with everything he's doing on immigration. But I like that he's doing the immigration that way. So even the people were like, but I still like the other things that I'm going to let it go, that he's not nailing immigration. I like that he's harsher on immigration, but he's doing things too crazy. That's basically what MAGA was telling us about the immigration thing. But they're excusing is but also at the same time, I like that gas is down. And I used to always point out $1 of savings in gas only saves a family like $40 to $50 a month. Meanwhile, healthcare costs are going up. And yet people would ignore that. And they'd be like, nope, doesn't matter. Gas is down, gas is down, gas is down. And so that was their big thing of I can point to a sign and you have to agree that that sign has a lower number than before. So I can say that Donald Trump is successful. And then the other thing that they would always bring up was I like that he doesn't start new wars.
And that's in the garbage. Whoop.
Right. Literally all three of the big things that Donald Trump was supposedly good for, he has lost. He has lost the Americans and even a lot of MAGA on immigration. The best they can say is, well, I don't like what Stephen Miller and, Krusty Gnome is out now. So, that was probably the bad part. I like that it's back over to whatever his name is, the guy that did it under Obama. I like that it's back there. That's the best they have. But things went too far and he needs to be better with it. That's the best you can come up with. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement of he's doing a great job. And then with the worst thing and the gas thing, Donald Trump has directly caused gas prices to go up with the aid of no other country but Israel.
Oh, but they don't understand how, sorry, I've watched too many MAGA videos recently where they're like, y'all said that the president doesn't affect gas prices. And yet here it is. You're saying that the gas is up because of Trump. It's like, right, because he can't directly affect it. It's an indirect effect. But now actually this is a direct impact because Iran is being like, fuck all of y'all. You attacked my oil depot. I'm going to attack everybody's oil depot. Nobody's getting oil.
Yeah. I mean, obviously a president is capable. Generally, the fluctuations in prices are not directly affected. Presidents can do policies to try and bring it down a little bit, try and get oil companies to stop being such dicks. And presidents can try and do trade deals to open up more, to have more oil coming in. Of course, there are things that can affect it, but it's very rarely direct. In the case of, it would have been acting like we're saying that was all over the place, would be like saying, therefore, Putin, as the president of Russia, can't affect the gas prices. But we literally know that that was one of the two factors that caused the massive spike in 2022. Putin went to war. We basically said you're not allowed to buy oil from Russia anymore, or you will be similarly sanctioned. And gas prices went way up. Donald Trump, by the way, sanctioned and held those sanctions in place until invading Iran, until attacking Iran and starting a war with Iran. And now Donald Trump, by allowing people to buy from Russia again, is making the prices go down or go up less quickly, but is also now giving Russia new money to fight Ukraine with.
Oh, yeah. So, that was actually my little conspiracy theory, was all of this is really just a weird way to help you, Russia.
There's a couple of things. So the conspiracy that I floated with Javon, that I think I convinced Javon on, is the reason why we went into Venezuela was to get all that terrible oil, because he knew he was going to be invading Iran, and he knew that that terrible oil that costs $80 a barrel to refine will actually be a competitive price afterwards. And so the companies that he's directly benefiting, that bought favors from him and shit and are paying in for his stuff, they are going to make money. His family will somehow make money off of it. We won't know until after it happens, but it's going to happen. And so while everybody was like, hey, you're a fucking idiot, this gas is not worth money, this gas sucks, what are you talking about? Why are you doing this? He was sitting in his brain going okay, well, if it's too expensive, all I have to do is make all the rest of the oil expensive. I'm already going to be making the rest of the oil expensive. And now I have a reserve of heavy crude poop oil. It's wild.
And here's the crazy thing is, right? Because obviously most of y'all already know I enjoy my numbers. So I made a video last week or a week, I don't know, about oil, and I pulled data from the EIA. Before OPEC started increasing their output of their production of oil, and what they were refining and what they were putting out onto the market, we were importing 800 million barrels less a month. And now we're importing more, even 100 less than last month, but still more than we had previously. So
Yeah.
we like that just re-cements like the fact that under the Biden administration, we were the most oil independent than we had been before. Now we're relying more on external pressure.
Were you on with me, or was it Lux who was on with me with the guy who was like, do you guys even remember 9/11? Was that you or Lux?
Oh no, that wasn't. Oh no, actually, I think that was me. Was that
The guy
also
who was like
like?
yelling. And I asked, how do we need to go into every country? Should we invade every country where the people are suffering? And he said, fuck yeah, then melted down and called us liberals. And I think it was Lux because he also
Okay.
accused us of being trans and having a problem with it. And I don't think he, I think it was, I think that one was Lux. Anyway.
Okay. Because I remember there was one where someone did similar, where it's like, do you remember 9/11? And then you did a poll in the chat is, when did you, and we asked the chat to answer, when did we figure out that the United States was the bad guy?
Right. Oh, yeah. That one was good. Ari, as we have call screening MAGA, we want to talk to you. The current callers right now calling in are repeat callers who I have very little interest in. I'd love to hear from new MAGA people because I already know what's wrong with these people's approach.
There are plenty of people in my TikTok chat. Y'all can call in. It's not difficult.
We'll hear you out. I've been thinking about that guy a lot and his whole argument of, we should be going in. We did it as we're liberating them. I'm curious if you had to guess a number of people, like not a percentage, according to the 2024, I think it was census and then a veterans groups review, what number of veterans would you guess live below the federal poverty line?
Below of veterans, 47%.
No, not percent. Give me like a number. It's okay. By the way, percentage wise, it's definitely better than that, but like a number of people. It's just based on.
There's 1.2 million on Snap, so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's 1.2 to 1.5 million veterans live below the federal poverty line. And so once again, it's a matter of like, we have unlimited money to go and allegedly help another country be liberated. We didn't even liberate them.
Nope.
They're now under the sun. And yeah, I'm just like, oh man, this is such a dumb topic.
What did he?
It's literally like we'll do it probably so briefly. Let me get the fucking shit ready.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. We want actual MAGA people to call in, not, but am I the victim, guys? If y'all don't mind, I think I'm pretty sure I'm the victim. I'm pretty sure nobody has ever been more victimized than white men in the world.
Oh, for sure. They are the infinite perpetual victims.
Yeah, and I've always said that. Guys. It's very clearly the case. All right, fine. Okay, anyway, MAGA, give us a call, 336-543-2101, 336-543-2101. Send us your best.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see you in the meantime. Tim in New York calling in. Tim, his pronouns are he, him. He's 30 years old. He's called in a bunch of times. Hey, Tim, let me ask you a question. In America, do you believe there is a group that is more oppressed than white men?
I don't like to play victim Olympics.
Yeah, that wasn't the question, though. In America, do you believe is a group or groups that is more oppressed systematically than white men?
I'll throw you a bone. I think you'll like this. Maybe trans people.
Okay. Anybody else?
What do you want me to say? Every single group? Is that's the answer you want?
Well, you gave trans people, which we didn't invoke.
I didn't think about
technically.
it. I mean,
we did invoke gender. I just gave you a race and a gender. So generally, you would give back probably a race and a gender, because there are, for example, trans people who are white men. So, is there another combination of race and gender that you believe are more oppressed than white men?
I'm only living my own experience, so I don't think I think you like to say I'm not qualified to make that decision.
And yet I feel confident at some point you have decided in your mind that there is an answer to that. So I would ask you again, do you believe that there is a different race, gender combo demographic that experiences more oppression than white men?
Jimmy, I honestly, I don't know the answer. I didn't come ready prepared for that.
Do you believe there's a chance in America that white men are the most oppressed race and gender demographic?
Is there a chance? In terms of outcome, or in terms of
systemic
barriers?
Systemic discrimination and oppression.
In some ways, yeah. I believe so. In certain ways, yeah. But not. Like I said, I don't think that I can make that call. You're asking me off the top of the head. For many years, white people, and Asian people were discriminated against in college admissions. So,
right, that's right. In fact, the example you bring up, excuse me, hang on. The example you bring up the most of what you perceive as racial discrimination is college admissions.
But Jimmy,
I forgot about that one.
I don't know. Maybe there is other groups that are more discriminated against. But
do you believe that black men or white men are more discriminated against?
In what regard?
In America. Systemic all around oppression. Systemic all around depression.
I haven't walked in that person's shoes, so I don't want.
That wasn't what I asked.
But
I didn't ask you to walk in their shoes.
Okay, well, I can't. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'd like to get to the topic at hand.
So you just don't know at all. You don't think you feel like you could even make a pretty confident guess. What if I say you can give a percentage? Like I'm only 30% confident, but I suspect the answer is what?
What am I gonna? I don't know, because I hear things from some people that make it seem a lot worse to be black, and then I hear things to the contrary that.
But of course, you call into debate, so you're also forget about the anecdotes. Obviously, you're living in the data, right? You're a data guy. You're looking at the studies. You're looking at the science, the scientifically backed information. So, as a data guy, what is your instinct that white men or black men are more oppressed in America?
This is a huge country, and I haven't been to every single part of it, but I'm sure there are places where it's very bad to be black still. So
yeah, but that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question. That's an attempt to subvert the question. In total, in America.
Why do you want such a clear answer? I don't know. I have only been to.
I already told you. You don't have to give a clear answer. You can just say which one you suspect, and then you could say, like, I would say with 50% confidence that I think it's blah blah blah.
You're asking me in such general terms. I don't know I only know what I hear.
Yeah,
and what
yeah.
I see.
I thought you were a data guy because you've called in saying you were a data guy before. Remember when you were calling in about when you've called in about when you've called in about what's the phrase, the college admission stuff, the affirmative action. You've presented yourself as a big data guy. So I'm just curious, based on the data you've ingested, let's say with 50% confidence, or if you want to change it, you believe the answer is white men or black men are more oppressed in America.
I don't know why you want to play this game. I don't.
It's not a game. It's a question.
Is Tim the one that gave this statistic about from 1997, or am I confusing my MAGA?
Oh, there's so many of them who do.
Okay.
Did I call in to have that conversation?
Yeah. Tim, who do you think is more oppressed in America? I'll make it way easier. Who do you think is more oppressed in America overall? And for the record, if you're MAGA considering calling in, Tim is a repeat caller, and we're setting the necessary foundation before we engage his topic, because we're skipping a lot of steps, essentially. We're being very efficacious in making sure we show people a foundation Tim comes from, being familiar with his foundation. Hey, Tim, who is more oppressed in America, white men or black women?
White men or black women?
Yeah, who would you say?
I mean, you mean in terms of the stats you'll give on hospitals and the treatment they receive and
we
things
can just
like
go
that?
with overall. You can every stat, every type of oppression, you stack them up and you just go. I'd say it's pretty clear that X.
It's a vague question. Depends where you are. It depends.
No. And so that's why I'm asking you for the totality of America. You're averaging out America.
It's worse to be black.
Okay, hey, Tim, give me an example of a place in America where white men are more... Excuse me, hang on. I'm not done with the question. Tim, give me a place in America where white men are more oppressed than black women, since you said it depends on where you are.
A place where white men are more oppressed than black women.
Yeah. You said it depends on where you are, so I assume you have examples.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Can you name any places where black women are more oppressed than white men?
Probably in the Deep South. But I mean, not universally, because there's large, Atlanta.
No, but some areas come to mind immediately. But zero areas come to mind where white men are more oppressed.
Houston, there's large enclaves that they have strong culture, so I wouldn't want to be worst place in the hood in just about any city. I wouldn't.
I'm sorry, you believe what that it's worse to be a white man in the hood in any city?
If you're broke, if you're broke,
if you're broke specifically, specifically if you're impoverished, it's worse to be a poor white person in the hood than to be a poor black person in the hood.
You won't be able to get the same social connection. So
And do you believe that a black person, for example, who is in poverty in the hood will have an easier time lifting himself out of poverty than a white person who is motivated to get out of poverty?
Not necessarily, but I think they'll have an easier time making social connections.
Okay, but we're talking about poverty. So let's get to what is. You said not necessarily. Let's get to necessary. You have a white person and a black person in a poor neighborhood. Which one, based on the data we have now, will have an easier time escaping poverty?
In a poor neighborhood, do your stats specifically address in a poor neighborhood?
I mean, there are lots of stats in general about demographics what your likelihood I'm sorry, Tim, I'm going to answer the question. There's plenty of data about if you belong to a demographic and you are born poor, how likely you are to not escape your financial situation. And so the question is, in your estimation, based on all that data, because you're constantly ingesting all this data, is it if because you've said white men are more oppressed in a poor neighborhood in the hood than black people. So then the question follows, who has an easier time escaping poverty, white men or
Does
black
that
women.
Does that control for the neighborhood they grow up in, or is that like a poor person in a
My guy, I don't know which data you've looked at. You clearly are a data guy. This is in your estimation. You're not. You're trying to ask my opinion. You're trying to ask my opinion.
Data there is.
Okay.
I don't know why.
And not even the data relevant to the overall positions that you're usually calling in on, which is to prove that there's some kind of systemic white oppression that is very scary. All right. So now you want to call in about the erasure of German language and culture in the United States. Which German language and culture do you feel like is being erased?
Well, it already was erased because it was the second most prolific language in the beginning of the 20th century. And because of xenophobia during the First World War, it was virtually erased. So do you think
is
that's
that what
a
happened?
problem?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
It was legally banned in several
I think when you
states.
go through World War I and World War II as the obvious bad guys, the fact that people go, you know what, as a second language, I don't think, excuse me. Hey, Tim. How about you let me, hey, Tim. Maybe you let me, hey, Tim, maybe you let me finish before you yell over and you haven't even, Tim, how do you know what I am when you haven't heard me complete the point? What if the point that wait, Tim, how do you even know I'm not going to end that point in agreement? You've just yelled over after I said, when you are the bad guy in World War I and World War II, and then was going to continue onward. In fact, right now, you saying that makes me xenophobic only establishes, if that's the whole point you want to engage on and no words beyond that, makes it sound like you're saying it's xenophobic to call the bad guys, the Germans, the bad guys of those wars. Is that your case? Would you say that the Nazis were not the bad guys of World War II?
What was the German language was all but erased before World War II.
All but erased before World War II.
No.
Hey, again, we're engaging on when you jumped in. So I do need clarifications. Were the Nazis, were the Germans the bad guys in World War II?
Sure.
So why did you jump in when I said, when you are the bad guys of World War I and World War II, and yelled, you're xenophobic? You don't know how that point was going to end. How was that point going to end?
Were they the bad guys in World War I?
Yes.
Are you not aware of that?
Why?
Wait, who do you think the bad guys were of World War I?
Why were they bad guys? They were honoring the treaties.
No, they weren't honoring the
them the
treaties.
bad
That's
guys?
why new treaties had to be drafted. The Treaty of Versailles. Like they had to be, they had
Eric,
new ones
before you
drafted.
give it to him, Ari, what was World War I fought over? Rather than her educating you, pretend you knew this all along. What was World War I fought over?
Archduke Franz Ferdinand was shot, and then there was
I'm sorry, you think that's what the whole war was fought over? Was one guy was shot? That is a moment when the war began. But
and there were a lot of treaties.
What was the actual reason we fought it? Not because that guy being shot is only a moment of
Lusitania, the Lusitania, which the U.S. was supplying arms to England, and Germany destroyed the ship, and it was a civilian ship, but it was carrying arms, and U.S. was already supplying arms to England at the time of the war.
Hey, so
that's why U.S. entered the war.
So, Tim, to be clear, just the way you're presenting it, you actually believe Germany was the good guys and America was the bad guys in World War I. To be clear,
no, I don't think there was a good guys or bad guys. I think there were treaties were being honored, and I don't think it was a very moral dispute. I mean,
he's literally confusing events with World War II in World War I. It's weird.
I know that it's absolutely wild. Would you say German was an expanding nationalist force before World War I, that they had nationalism that was starting to expand beyond their borders?
Sure. So what?
Okay.
What does that have
so wait. So if America is nationalist and we start to push that nationalism out and dominate other countries with our nationalism, would that make us the bad guys or no? Because we're talking about violating sovereignties here.
Wait. Wait, the British Empire was much larger than the German Empire, and they had subjects all over the world, including India, who they starved to death in the millions.
That was evil.
And we supported them.
That was evil. That was definitely evil. That was definitely evil. Not what we went to war over, but that was evil.
So what did we go to war over?
Are you thinking that English? Are you thinking that I'm sitting here going English imperialism and colonialization was good and what the Germans did was bad? But I mean, I guess we come back to the original point. Tim believes that there isn't a for sure good guy or bad guy in World War I. No. Tim
Craziest
also
statement.
believes that German is being erased as a language and a culture, despite the fact that German wasn't erased. 200 million people speak German today.
German is an ethnicity. German is an ethnicity, Tim.
As well as a language.
Yeah.
German was the most spoken language in the United States at the beginning of the century.
Yeah.
Laws were passed to make it illegal. And
oh my goodness.
those were overturned in court, but in several states. But there was social pressure, and basically the language was all but erased, except for Amish people are the last.
And how are they doing now?
The Amish people are doing okay, but they
no. How is German doing now? Because you're literally talking about World War I era laws that, as you pointed out, stop, Tim. Why do you still think on your 11th call that you can talk over me? If I'm talking, you shut up, but you don't know how. And I'm sure you're one of the people who then leaves the show and goes like, God, and they just interrupt over there, even as you don't let a single sentence fly by.
Okay.
German, you're talking about things that are over a century old in response essentially to World War I and things that probably weren't great to do with less technology. There are reasons why you can say, wow, that fucking sucks, we did it. But at the end of the day, we didn't intern Germans the way we did the Japanese. So, like, what is it actually? Who did we intern? American citizens.
Some that were suspected of ties. We did intern.
So you're saying people who actually, there was actually evidence they may be connected to. And are you saying in World War I or World War II?
I don't know what the standards of evidence for that, but I know there were some that were interned, and we took people
World War I or World War II?
We made people in South America. We made countries in South America send their Germans here to be interned in America.
You're talking about after World War II, the Nazis.
Not after World War II. I mean, during World War II, I believe. And I'm not sure
so you don't like that So you don't like that Nazis were sent for internment in World War II?
Well, just German people. I don't know what your idea of Nazis is very vague, because how could you be a Nazi and you're living in South America during the war by the thousands? Or
Nazis there were Nazis stationed in. And by the way, this is weird coming from Tim. You're MAGA, aren't you?
I just want to make sure you're consistent, but
aren't
I
you
don't
MAGA?
think you are.
It's a weird line of questioning from somebody who presumably believes there are Muslims hiding in Mexico waiting to attack us and coming across the southern border.
I said that? Oh, well, anyone can get in through the southern border. I mean, not under Biden they could, but...
Oh, God.
Maybe
it's wild.
Tim, you never know.
Is Tim wild. German?
Yeah, are you German, Tim? This is just the wildest shit from Tim.
German, I'm American.
Are
you German?
Am I of German descent?
Yes.
Yeah, that's obviously what's being asked of to you, Tim. Now we're going to turn into pedantic country
perhaps
without an O.
German descent, Jimmy.
Excellent.
Did you say perhaps? No, did you say perhaps? Or do you know for sure?
Yeah.
So you don't know for sure.
I know for sure. I do know for sure.
Oh, okay. I find it odd because I also have German descent in me, and I don't understand what your hang up is. Also, you're unequivocally wrong about the United States demanding that Africa send just random German citizens to
I
the
didn't say
United
Africa.
States. Jimmy was right that it's only for any Nazis that escaped to Africa prior to
No, this is
being captured.
hold on. This is prior to the war. This is prior to the conclusion of the war. So no,
Yes.
they were.
What did I just
taking
say?
people in.
Prior to being captured, only for the Yahtzees.
The Nazis left after the war, but let's talk. Can we focus more on World War One because that's more so
Because
where
that's
You
the one
are-
that makes your point
the
more.
language.
No, you're not
The
even.
language
You're
was erased.
utilizing Tim. You're using events from World War II and putting them as if they happened during World War One.
Sure. But
Yeah. You don't even know
it
which
was mixed
war
up.
you're
It was
talking
mixed
about.
up in the other. It was mixed up in the other. Do you think it's okay that multiple states, for a time, even though it was overturned, banned the language, and there was
No, that's
social
why it was
pressures
overturned
that led
5
to
years
the
after the
erasure?
first law was written.
Yeah, I'm against banning language. I think that violates freedom of speech, and America isn't an English-speaking country.
Okay, as someone who is of German descent,
Yeah.
I have a relative. She went to school, and she spoke only the German
And is
language.
she a black woman that you're more oppressed than?
No, she's not. No, she's not.
Oh,
No,
okay.
she's not.
I just wanted to check.
Apparently, she's oppressed. I guess you don't know. As an Anglo, I guess you don't know what it is to be oppressed. But I have a relative that spoke only German and was told to don't speak don't speak any more German for the rest of your life because it's bad. It's bad. You need to only.
Wait,
speak
you have a
English.
relative who's alive now that you've spoken to?
Yes, I do. She's quite.
So she was told at some point, and then a couple years later, that law was overturned as unconstitutional.
No,
right?
the law was not in effect, but people still did these things de facto, and that's why you had this entire language.
Yeah. So every time the country does something that violates the rights of people and is found to be unconstitutional, those are tragic. Sure. I would say that is a tragedy, much smaller than the tragedy of banning gay marriage for so long that took until 2014. That would be an example of a much larger systemic oppression that was just based on people's religious hangups, whereas the other one was happening more in we are literally at war with this country, and so this is me. But no, I didn't say it. I'm sorry, Tim. Wait, Tim, you're complaining about German being lost? No, you're not going to talk over me. Tim, you're complaining about German being lost, but apparently you're not even good at English.
Nope.
And I think you said I think it's supposed to be your first language. Tim, I have no problem weighing tragedies. And the tragedy of what you're describing that affected some thousands of people of German descent while Germany was in active aggression toward America. By the way, a very bigoted Germany also at that time, but America was bigoted as fuck too. So who's to point fingers? I have no problem weighing the tragedy of the queer oppression that happened as more significant while still saying banning the German language was a type of oppression, a type of ethnic oppression even, and that isn't a good thing. And because this country, much like earlier when we talked about who will have an easier time, you kind of set yourself up, Tim. I didn't even realize I was going to take it here. Earlier, you couldn't figure out who would have an easier time getting themselves out of a poor neighborhood, a black woman or a white man. But because we know there are systems in place and less barriers in place, we know that the white man is going to get out faster. And we also know that because Germans are white, that the address of their unconstitutional injustices were going to happen a lot sooner than the injustices toward black people or queer people or the great many. In fact, we are right now seeing the country go back on essentially drawing districts on the basis of race to favor white people. Or last year, the evidently racist Supreme Court armed ICE with the permission to racially discriminate and profile and to pull people
Just so
over
insane.
and randomly stop people on the basis of the language they're speaking, their accent, their appearance, what they appear and sound to be like. So, Tim, as we've already addressed your inability to actually engage and then your obfuscation when it comes to weighing issues, I have no problem weighing. And when it comes to a lot of issues, that's a sad thing that happened. America did a lot of sad things, but because it happened to white people, we were able to recognize the unconstitutional impermissibility on a much grander scale, which is why also, did you know that what you're calling German internments usually meant more like German tracking? Like you had to be registered and report in, but you still got to be at home. You still got to be still very excessive, not cool. But weirdly, even with the limited technology compared to what we had today, seemed adequate when it came to the white people. But when it came to internments of, say, Japanese people, that was much more important to even put whole families, mothers and children, physically in a place. I don't know, Tim. It seems to me like you actually do. And I feel like the questions that I asked at the beginning you've made them make more sense. That foundationally, you are looking for ways that white people are oppressed to complain about. And you have to go all the way back to the 1900s and then suggest, because America is not one of the most popular languages to speak, German isn't the most popular language to speak in America, there's been some tremendous injustice done. So let's find out. What percentage of Americans spoke German in 1900 versus today? Let's find out what the tragedy is of one of the many European languages. So it's about 10% back then, 1% now. Gotta tell you, I'm fine with it, especially since you also find that other European languages that are basically white people pretty much switch to English in general here. So one of the other things you're not addressing is the fact that you don't see a lot of representation of non-English white languages here, period. And that is going to be one of the things that affected the Germans, but also others. There's not a bunch of people speaking Welsh. There's not a bunch of people speaking whatever the nonsense they speak in the Netherlands is.
It just goes in line with the population growth.
Right.
Spanish became the predominant one because South America is right there.
Central America, I can see Central America from my house, not literally, but
not literally.
It's very close. It's landlocked to us.
It is.
The reason why a lot of people speak the Canadian nonsense too. They tell me that's English as
Canadian,
well, but
French.
Seems alleged.
It's an accent, right?
All right, we'll bring Tim back on for some reason.
What language came close, Jimmy? What language came close?
It doesn't matter. English.
It doesn't matter that it was a race,
Tim,
Jimmy.
Hey, Tim. English. English came close.
English person.
Hey, Tim.
You shouldn't talk to me.
Tim, I'm answering your question, Tim. Tim, I'm answering your question.
German and you're privileged Englishman. I don't think you
Excuse me, Tim. Hey, Tim. I don't know if you know the history.
I have a victim.
All right, we're just going to go ahead and mute you. Tim, I'm Irish. Don't know if you know their history here. And I'm also queer. So if you want to play the Oppression Olympics, I'm also autistic. I also run a company that provides trans education. You're in no danger, Tim. I'm in danger. You're not. So Tim, since you're trying to do the identity politics thing and see if you can win, you're just simply not going to win this. And if you think you're going to yell over me, you're simply not going to succeed. So Tim, you asked what other language came close? English. Amongst white people, English is the most predominant language by a lot in America, even by 1900. And that is what took over all those people who were speaking Germans weren't replaced with Spanish speakers. White people became predominantly English speakers, which would have happened over some amount of time either, but probably was accelerated by that whole, we're a bunch of bigoted, anti-Semitic, Nazi, nationalist fuckfaces. I don't know if you're familiar with the history of Germany. They're not great at not committing genocide, but then here we are in America. We like doing genocides too. Let's see if he ever stopped talking during that whole time.
So
Wow, you're
who
silent when it came off mute this
overwhelmingly
time.
did slavery in the United States? Was it Germans or English people? Was it Germans or the English?
Why does that
Who
matter?
were the first to fight against slavery? It was Germans, and the English were overwhelmingly the slave owners.
And how did that affect the Nazis?
Well, the people that you're talking about were already in the country before the Nazi Germany even happened. So what did they
you're
have
not
to do?
addressing
How is it
my
their
point
fault?
at all. You're just saying words that
You're
saying
an
Germans.
anti-German bigot. You're an anti-German
You're saying Germans.
bigot.
You're saying English. You're saying all the shit. Okay, Tim. If you're not going to actually engage in the point and just whine you're a bigot.
Go ahead.
No, I don't need you to tell me to go ahead. I commute. You haven't engaged in the point yet. English was the predominantly spoken language amongst white Americans by a large margin. All other white spoken languages were spoken less and less and overtaken by English. German is one of those. What you are describing would have happened. You're positing that it happened at an accelerated rate in response to the fact that Germany produced a lot of fucking horrible people in 1917 and then again in which year was it? The 30s. We'll just say the 1930s. And did some big fucked up shit. And you're saying that accelerated that. Well, no, you're just saying that's what caused it. I'm willing to accept that it may have accelerated it. Would have no qualms with the position it may have accelerated it, while acknowledging it would have happened anyway, just as English is also reducing the number of Mexican Americans who speak Spanish at a slower rate because Mexico's so close. But right now you have people in America trying to deport Mexicans who only speak English. That is the level to which this has happened to other people, but it is harder when it is a landlocked thing. And when it comes down to it, let's find out real quick. What percentage of Americans are German now versus 1900? Let's see what we can find here. And then he doesn't even know what he's screeching about, and then whining about anti-German bigot. I'm going to use his sides. I'm dating a person of German descent. I can't be anti-German.
Oh gosh, it's such a weird statement to even just utter.
Yeah, so there's also been about a 20% reduction in how many people are German as far as part of the total population. So even on top of it all, English was the primarily spoken one. Amongst white people, it was overtaken. I wonder, too, in 1900, what percentage of Americans spoke both German and English? Because one thing being left out here is that the number one way a lot of the languages disappear is I'm an American. If I'm a German American who also speaks English, that I may not raise when English is the primarily spoken thing. I may raise my child with like a distant second language. I'm going to teach them some. And by the third generation, it's basically gone. You know, the key words and the swear words and the funny things, but mostly, you know, grandma. This happens to Italians all the time too. I know the number of Italian nonas I met who speak fluent Italian. And I was in New York, friends with their grandchildren. And by the way, it was very popular. Looking at it, best historical look, looks like a lot of Americans of the Germans who spoke German also spoke English. So these Germans who did speak English are also going to be part of why it fell away. Yes, those laws were fucked up and probably accelerated it.
Yeah.
But realistically, English is present day taking over Spanish of Spanish speakers who come here and every other language. And in as much as it would be fucked up to ban Spanish, that is true, and would affect a huge number of people and would really just be done to people who aren't largely bilingual, as would have been the Germans in those cases. There are a lot of non-English speaking Americans. That is done with a much bigger level of resentment, not because of hostilities of war, which again doesn't justify it, but actually just fueled by the bigotry of I don't like these brown people. The natural change is not a big deal. There are some people who lament it, but most people don't. Not many people meet a Mexican person who doesn't speak Spanish and goes like, oh, the tragedy of your white erasure.
I also sorry, this has been bothering me for a moment. I want to point out that his grandma, because he said that she's still alive, or his family member, would have to be like 113 years old for his story to be true, because he said she was still alive.
And that would have been born at that year, right? Let's add some years for her to actually internalize that whole thing. So who do you know that's between 113 and 130 years old, Tim? That's what we'll bring you back with.
No, Jimmy. It was prior to World War II and post World War I, and the person is not 113 years old. They're less.
How long ago was World War II?
What's that?
How long ago was World War II?
It was in 1938. So what is that? 88 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So how much before that? So let's say they were 10 years old when this ban happened. You're saying the grandma you know is 98?
A little bit younger than that.
So she internalized this big. She was a German, first language German speaker at 6 years old, 4 years old.
That's pretty close.
How old was she when German was banned?
It wasn't banned. It's just you would go to your teacher and they'd say, "Don't speak this anymore. Stop it."
It was only gone for 5 years before it was overturned by the Supreme Court in 1923.
And you invoked the ban earlier. Yes.
No,
if a teacher, wait, no, Tim, you can't. You will get to explain in a minute. You don't get to say, "Let me explain," and then talk anyway. You can explain in a minute. You invoked the ban. The ban was overturned in 1923. If you go to a school and your teacher doesn't speak German, you must, in America, it is likely the case across America that you are expected in the public schools to speak English. Now, if the teacher was mean about her speaking German as a bigot, then her teacher was a bigot, and nobody's denying that. But so many things you invoked is now coming down to this anecdote of a person who wasn't alive during the ban, who you're saying some systemic thing existed because a teacher told her not to speak German to her because the teacher... And we haven't established, was it because the teacher doesn't speak German?
That sounds logical.
She wasn't told. She was told, don't speak it at home or ever. Not don't speak this at school, or make sure you speak English.
Great anecdote. Great anecdote. Can you now prove this happened? Because I think that you're making this up. Legitimately, based on our interaction so far, I think you're making the story up.
Okay, believe that.
Hey, does it bother you, Tim, that we don't allow people to speak German in our live chat? Did you know that? Did you know if you write in German in the live chat, we delete your message and we give you a warning?
I had no idea.
That's true. Do you feel like that's because we're oppressive and bigoted?
Well, I think you're pulling my leg.
No, I promise you. I will bet you $1,000. If you can prove that I am lying, I am telling you $1,000 on my life. If you speak German in our chat, mods are going to delete your message if they are doing their job.
Oh, well, that's a shame, because there's a lot of very left-wing Germans these days that probably like you quite a bit. So
that's interesting. Did you know? And so you feel like that is something we're doing oppressively. Mods, by the way, people are now doing it to be a bit trolly. So mods, if you'll hit those. So would you say that's because we are bigoted? Is that what's motivating me?
I just think you're fucking with me.
I'm not. I promise you. I promise you. German is banned from our live chat. I promise. And that has already been the policy long before you called. I promise.
Well, it just sounds like you're taking out your disdain for me on every other.
No, it was way before I met you. Way before I met you. Do we not have any mods in chat? Guys, for real, I'm going to start timing you out if you keep doing it. I'm dead ass. Before today, it was not okay to speak German in chat, and you would be deleted, and on repeat aggression, you would be banned. Does that bother you?
Yeah, I don't think that's very nice, but whatever.
Yeah. So this is my point, is that you don't take a second at all to even think, is there a reasonable explanation for this? Is there an explanation that has nothing to do with oppression? So now that I'm telling you there is actually an oppression free. Yeah. Only English is allowed in the chat because I can't moderate a German chat. I can't moderate a Spanish chat. I don't let Hebrew in, but not because I have any problem with Hebrew. I don't let Spanish. And this is at the end of the day. I think you just showed off exactly what I'm saying is your problem. You look through the lens of, I need it to be the case that I, a white German man, a white man of German descent, is absolutely being oppressed. And that's how you look through it. And that's why your first guess was that I was fucking with you until I told you, have you considered there's a reasonable explanation?
I mean, I don't think that there was a sufficient body of people speaking German that it was a problem. So I don't, that's why I don't believe that.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, Tim?
You're banned.
Apparently. Tim, sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Mein Deutsch ist sehr schlecht. Es tut mir leid.
You only know the speeches?
The speeches
hey,
of
Tim,
who?
You
the
know
speeches
who.
Of who?
You know exactly who,
You're
Tim.
a bigot. You're such a bigot for thinking of that person.
Hey, Tim. You're a white supremacist.
Of course.
Hey, Tim. Hey, Tim. You're a white supremacist. Hey, Tim.
Maybe he won't call back if I say this. I have offended some people before.
All right, timeouts are starting now for the people who are trying to be trolly, especially because I apparently. Oh, wait. Somebody is here, but I think that's our screener. So y'all being trolly, you're going to start getting timed out because I'm the person who is the one actively doing it, and I don't have time to be fucking with you idiots. So either stop or you're getting timed out.
Hey, Tim. I just want to let you know that you're. I mean, you're just absolutely crazy. But I do want to say this, Victor Ashlo.
What's that?
Yeah.
A Wiedersehen, white supremacist. I just don't care. MAGA, certainly you can do better than that. This is what this guy calls in all the time. Just white people, we're so oppressed. We're so oppressed. Let us out. You gotta fucking, you guys think I was joking. I'm fully timing you fuckers out.
At least some people knew exactly what I said.
I assume you called him an asshole because German's one of those ones that just sounds like you're speaking English.
Yeah, I literally said, fuck you, asshole.
It literally, like, German to me just sounds like, fuck you, asshole. I assume this is perfect German. Fuck you, the asshole.
I mean, close enough.
Perfect German. People who are like trying to do it as a joke, you're still getting a timeout because I don't know any German. So we're like, oh, but this one's the one. If you even write Heineken, timed out. I don't give a shit. I ain't got time to be eyeballing chat. I got real shit to do. I got this job to do. Stop making my job suck. MAGA, Tim did not even set the bar high. Colin, you can do better than the white, like the obvious white supremacist. 336-543-2101. 336-543-2101. By the way, in the meantime, people, as we don't have, we've got another call. Nobody's going to be that interested in it either. Send super chats. Basically, as long as MAGA's not calling, pay us. We'll read a number of them out. And basically, MAGA, if you want to stop the flow of super chats, all you have to do is actually give us a call. It's easy.
Call the number.
It's fucking easy. Let's see who's so far. I don't think we have that many yet because we're early in the show. But Dr. Mitch said, thank you for having this channel and thank you to all of the Line team. Keep up the good work and great show. Next says, got my Hey Jimmy Snow, fuck your birthday, go fuck yourself hoodie and love it. Yeah, I'm wearing mine. I got mine today too. I actually I legit love this hoodie. It's probably my favorite colored hoodie I've ever had.
Okay.
I really like
a
the
green.
color. And it is, once again, I mean, you guys can't buy it. It was a limited time, so I don't know why I'm like advertising it. We'll use this material again, but I autism approve all of our stuff. I literally order samples to make sure whatever we're putting out there, or I tell you if I haven't. I think there was one product where it's like, I can't speak for this one. The material feels just right. The sleeves, I could see some people being more sensitive than me, not liking the like kind of like almost woolish, but it's not scratchy wool. It's very soft. So while it looks a bit woolish, I think that's what it maybe looks like. It feels real nice. It feels real good.
It just looks like cotton to me. I don't know about wool.
Yeah. I just meant like the texture of wool. Usually when you see wool, I feel like it looks kind of like that. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Maybe. I don't know. It's just fuzzy. I don't know.
Nasty says, Jimmy, don't be a wiener schnitzel about it. That I'll give that one a pass. And Jeff says, Trump is definitely failing MAGA. Also, hey, Ari and Jimmy, my favorite duo, lol. I think you said Jovan and I were your favorite duo last show. So I'm a little suspicious here. I'm a little suspicious.
Jeff, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I'm a little suspect. MAGA, please call and tell us how Donald Trump has been a good president for MAGA. The phone number's right there, 336-543-2101. What promises do you feel he has kept and is keeping? Or if you want to call in, let's say you're MAGA, you're done with Trump, but you're still conservative. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about why you're still conservative. We'll probably take a moment to embrace you and be like, sweet summer child, we're so glad you broke out of the cult. Now let's see if we can go a step further back and prevent you from rejoining a new version of the cult. Then we'll talk about that. But yeah, it's Jimmy, please work for my employer. They're like the opposite of you when it comes to our uniforms. It's awful. I don't know what you mean work for them, though. I don't know. Arcane Goat says, all of the suddenly, Guten Tag. Well, that makes me want to throw up. Lena says, Jimmy not showing he's a real capitalist. Make the rule. You can speak German if it's in a super chat.
I mean, that is... Just don't read it out loud just in case. I mean, Guten Tag is just good day. So there is that.
I'm going to do this. Super chats of $20 or more may be in German because $20 is worth me going and putting it into a translator before I speak it out loud.
That's valid.
In fact, any language. You can do a super chat in any language if you're sending me at least $20 to go put it in translate. All right. That's the rule, guys. That's a good idea, Lena. That's the rule. God Sinner says, peanut butter. That is all good day. From Carrot Cal. Did you say that so I would say it? Sorry, Green Man. You didn't. Except I know this phrase. All right, Green Man, since you maybe just didn't hear it, I will give you the exception and I will get this one translated. Let me open Translator real quick.
I understand that it's one Frankfurt. It's one hot dog.
It looks to me like it says I've been in a hot dog. I am a Frankfurter. I was close. All right. Generally too, so people know I'll read HR, but we generally don't even start reading for anything less than $5. Just because we'd be here all day. As soon as you open up that floodgate, it's too much. HR, though, did say Ari is a top co-host, no contest. Ari is in my top 3 favorite co-hosts on this channel. I only have 3 co-hosts on this channel.
Isn't that funny?
And Lux. And I would never rank them. Actually, no, Lux wins because Lux does so much work for me outside of hosting. So
yeah, Lux does a lot.
Yeah. Lux wins. Sorry, guys. Look, it sounds like love wins.
I'm fair with
Lux wins.
I think that's fair.
Okay, Farav, here you are. Farav is called in the past. Farav is an Iranian American who has already told us in the past that even if the war wasn't constitutional, because he wishes to see the liberation of the Iranians, he would still support it either way, and is calling it with a follow-up about Iran. Farav, how are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
You know, just peachy.
Well, could have been worse, I guess. Well, my argument today is...
Was that German?
The strongest... What?
Oh, I heard. What was the sentence you said in response? I thought I heard.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to someone in the
Yes,
chat?
to you. Farab, you said something and I misheard it. So I thought it wasn't English, but I guess it was. What did you say? Did you say something English or not?
I apologize. I have I might have an accent. So,
It's all good.
what I'm trying to say is one of the strongest arguments against the war is maybe not the strongest. One of the most popular arguments against this war is that top-down regime changes is bad. Some people say that look at Iraq, look at Afghanistan. How did that went? Well, I'm here to kind of debunk that argument because I'm here to say that.
Yeah, Farab, no. Farab, you don't get to do that. No, there is no let you anything, Farab. You can debate our points, but we don't create this channel as if you'd like to call in and give a little audio essay on an argument that somebody else is making and what your problems with it are. That's not a thing. We don't open mic. You can. The argument that I would make for why the war in Iran shouldn't have happened was because it is a war that should have been from congressional approval, and why it has failed is because it wasn't even for regime change or for the Iranian people in the first place. It was done at the behest of Israel, and we know this because regime change has failed. The line of succession was followed. And the Ayatollah was going to be dead soon anyway. So now we just a few months, potentially maybe a year or two, but he was pretty old and sick. We got the new guy sooner, and we've displaced over 1 million people and killed thousands of civilians to kill only a few military targets.
Disrupted the world's oil supply.
If you put boots on the ground, you might have a positive result like you had in Japan and Germany and Italy.
Requires boots on the ground specifically would require congressional approval. Do you understand that one?
Well, would that be a bad thing? Like I believe that it should happen.
Farav, how healthy are you, Farav?
How healthy I am?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my health is average. I mean.
Cool. What's the native language spoken in Iran?
Farsi or Persian. I mean, there are multiple languages.
Do you speak either of those languages?
Persian. I mean, yes, I speak Persian, Farsi.
And if we put boots on the ground, are you intending to enlist because you will be absolutely so useful?
Needed.
Yeah, you're not just as a soldier, but as an interpreter.
In the right side. I actually am willing to fight in the right side. Yes.
Are you going to enlist, Farav?
I would be proud if I had if I have an opportunity to topple that regime. Yes.
You have the opportunity right now. Don't wait until we put boots on the ground. That'll be too late.
You think they won't immediately put you right now somewhere with intelligence interpreting Farsi and interpreting Persian, whichever one you said you speak?
Yeah.
Both are the same.
Okay, I didn't know that. Look at my skin. You know I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, I didn't know how could they use me, but I guess I consider your offer. It's an interesting suggestion.
No, it's not an offer. It's you are content to see other people in danger, and you would like to see boots on the ground in a war that you already said you would support, even if it was definitely unconstitutional. Have you changed your mind on that, or are you still there that you would support unconstitutional war? Yeah, that's what you said last time we spoke.
Well, actually, I'm here to say that so I support the idea of constitution, not necessarily the current constitution, because the constitution is outdated.
When did you become a citizen?
When did I become a citizen? I believe 2022.
Okay. So yeah, in the last 3 years since becoming a citizen, that's fair. In the last 3 years, the Constitution you swore to, you realized isn't totally just. And one of the things that you think is unjust is that the president can't just decide to go to war with Iran. And that's one of the changes you would make, right? You would give the president total power to declare war. Just the one guy. Yeah. The one guy. When has it ever been a bad thing for one individual, we'll call it authority, for the military to be led by an authority figure, like an authorityist? You know what I'm saying? Like an authorityism. And there's got to be a better word for it. When has a country having the sole authority of the military ever been a problem?
When Abraham Lincoln kind of moved above the Constitution and basically liberated the black people, he didn't have the power to do that. It was not constitutional at the time, but he did it anyway. He didn't have wartime emergency power, but he done it anyway.
And so that would be your justification that in the modern day, the military should answer to a single, man, I know there's a better word, authority boy, authoritium, let's call it that. Some sort of authoritarian president person, a leader that's an authoritarianal is, man, I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue. That's who you believe should lead the military and should be able to bypass the Congress to be able to go and do, by the way, your comparison was to a civil war, to problem and unrest with a country that was falling apart, that when it comes to foreign invasions and foreign wars, bypassing the Constitution on vibes alone or at the will and behest of Israel should be up to one authority Dougal Boogle. I'm so close to whatever the word is. That should be who it is.
Also, I want to point out that, like, yes, originally what he did was unconstitutional, was ruled so by the United States Supreme Court, and then Congress made a law that gave the president the authority to suspend the writs of habeas corpus in cases where there's an insurrection.
Though not necessarily. Do we like the suspension of the writ of habeas corpus?
I think that's something that Congress needs to take their fucking powers back. That's something I'll talk about all the time.
Yeah. Anyway, so Farav, the problem isn't that it's anti-constitutional. It's that it shouldn't be anti-constitutional, and that's why you still support it. The president should have total authority
because this is a positive thing. This is a good thing, and if constitutional prevents it from happening, then the Constitution needs kind of to be updated.
Now, Farav, I'm interested because you've said if you have the ability to topple that regime specifically, you would enlist. But you would like boots on the ground of a bunch of people who are not descendants of people who live in that regime, and you haven't enlisted to go topple other regimes. You haven't enlisted in the hopes that you end up toppling the North Korean regime or the Russian. What if we left Iran and we were going to go to war with Russia? Would you enlist to go to war with Russia?
Well, United States doesn't have on paper. United States doesn't have really the power to kind of topple the regime in Russia. But you said North Korea.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question. Actually. Would you enlist to go into those wars, right?
I believe in liberal democracy, and I do believe in exporting this system elsewhere through war.
Bro, then I'm waiting for you to enlist. Please send me your enlistment papers.
And I've got all the numbers to help you out too. Like I literally have the numbers to all of the recruiters. Also, if you go to your local strip mall, I guarantee you there's a recruiter in the mall. So just keep that in mind. They're usually in almost every town. But
which branch you joining?
What happened? Well, he should join the Marines or the Army. They're going to be the first ones, boots on the ground. He doesn't get to be in the Air Force. That's too easy for him. Rob, what happened August of 1953?
Are you talking about the coup in Iran?
Yeah. Who facilitated that?
Well, I know it was the CIA. They toppled the democratically elected.
Yeah, and what happened previous before? What happened before the United States directed our CIA to go in and commence a coup in Iran? What was their? How did they get leaders in that country?
Well, I mean, before that, the country was a constitutional monarchy, like the UK, and they decided that
no, it wasn't a monarchy.
It
was a monarchy after August 19th, 1953, when the Shah took over.
Before that, it did have
what
a Shah.
Happened previously?
Before
wasn't
that,
a
it had
monarchy prior to August 19th, 1953. It was
it
not
was
a
a
monarchy
constitutional
before then.
monarchy. Yes, yes. But the
No, it was
monarch was the
not.
figurehead.
How
Yeah,
did
it was.
yeah, I mean, sure, you can have a figurehead very similar to the United Kingdom, but who was
Yes,
your
that's true.
actual leader?
The prime minister, the elected prime minister,
Prime
Nawaz
Minister
Mustafa, yes.
elected. Wow, wait. So I just want to be clear. So you're telling me that the United States performed a regime change on
No,
August
it wasn't a
19th,
regime change.
1950. It was a regime change. August 19th, 1953, where we facilitated a coup to where a Shah took over Iran back in the 1953. And then that is what allowed the Islamic Revolution to occur in 1979 because it was
Okay.
a failed coup. We've already done this before in
Well, the
Iran
fact that it
specifically.
failed before, that doesn't mean that you cannot do it right this time, first of all. Second,
We put
when
boots on the
coup
ground
happened,
in 1953, like to help facilitate it. We put boots on the ground in the 1980s to get our people out as a result of the Islamic Revolution in 1979, sir. We've put boots on the ground in Iran before, and it has never worked.
Has regime change yet occurred in Iran, in your opinion? Going from the Ayatollah, the old man Ayatollah, to his son? Do you believe it's
no,
happened
it's
yet?
not a regime change. It's just a leader change because the regime is the same. Look,
why is Donald Trump declaring that they've succeeded at regime change?
Well, he might say some stuff, to manipulate people.
So he is lying when he says that, right?
Not necessarily lying. He's playing mind game. Maybe, but not necessarily in a bad way. Okay, but
it's not lying when it's a mind game. It's not lying when it's a mind game. Mind games aren't necessarily a bad thing. Don't ever date, Farav. Stay the fuck away from women. Jesus Christ. Hey,
you didn't need to say that. You already know
how
that,
close?
Unfortunately,
how close is the war to over?
I have no idea, but I hope that the war ends with either regime change or at least weakening of the regime, so the Iranian people
right. But how close would you say we are to that?
Trump said that it's going to be a 4-week operation. Now he learns that it might need more time. I don't know.
You think he learned that, or you think he knew in advance and lied about it? Because it seems like everybody in the entire world knew if he went into Iran, it would not be quick, and that it would likely be the beginning of something like another forever war.
Yeah, I guess he kind of
lied
knew
again.
that. No, I think what happened was he thought if he bombed Iran, Iranian people would rise and join the U.S. and help. But I guess he
what has he done to empower that rise?
Well, that's the thing. He kind of, when there was a protest, he actually tried to help them, and that was good. But
how did he help them? Besides bombing people that he already wanted to bomb, direct actions of things he did to empower the Iranian people to take back their government.
Well, I actually do give him this criticism that he kind of didn't really consider that there might be a rally around the flag, which there is. But
do you remember? Do you remember when Netanyahu did his speech to Lebanon, basically saying now is the time, Lebanese people, take back your government, but then didn't actually give them an avenue to do so?
Rally around the flag.
Did that happen?
Yeah,
did they take back their government when Netanyahu said, "We did it for you, so now go do it"?
No, as I said, there was that rally on the flag, so it didn't happen. Yes, yeah.
So what you're saying is, if you don't empower the people and you just kill the people that you are interested in killing, as well as a bunch of civilians, a civilian uprising isn't likely to happen because how the fuck would they do it?
Okay, now Trump is considering to either use proxy forces or boots on the ground, right? And my argument
the Kurds
is
have already told Trump that they won't do anything without written assurances from America because we fucked them over, specifically Donald Trump fucked them over in 2018 and 2019 when we left them on their ass.
For real, MAGA, if you're watching right now, really please call. This call, we will take you as soon as you call. If you want to get on the air as a MAGA, call now, 336-543-2101. Because it's the same thing with Farav. Farav if I don't think you would have other MAGA on your side, Farab, with the language of if it violated the Constitution, I'd still support the war with Iran. But to tell you the truth, I don't think most of MAGA supports the war with Iran. They just support Trump. And so they're trying to say the things as close to I support it when they know they don't as possible. Farab, I am all for the liberation of the Iranian people. And here's what I knew, was that Donald Trump was going to do this. Donald Trump is going to do this, and the Iranian people would be no closer to liberation, and a bunch of civilians would die. And when a civilian, I'm trying to remember if you were the caller. I think it was. Farab, did you not say that it was the Iranians who blew up that school, not Donald Trump, not the American?
Yes.
And
now you know that that's not true, correct? That it was an American Tomahawk missile, and even our own intelligence agencies say it's most likely us because the Iranians don't have Tomahawks?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how do we know it's Tomahawk. I know that many...
There's a picture. There's a picture. Tomahawks are recognizable.
I don't know.
Because it's been verified by the Red Crescent Society. It's been verified by the Red Crescent Society. They were there. They were present when the picture was taken and it was removed from the rubble, sir.
Right. Literally, you're asking, why is it real? One, because Tomahawks are recognizable by shape. We had a picture. Two, the timing of the bombing. It makes no sense that bomb. No, not okay. You don't get to tell me when I stop and you start. The timing of the bombing, this is how we knew right away, because it happened at the same time as the other bombing. Your suggestion is there is a conspiracy in Iran that when this happens, we should take a video of a single school getting a fake Tomahawk rained on it and kill all the people there. Just the one, though. We don't do a bunch of civilian targets, just the one. Now we also know that the American intelligence agencies will not rule it out and have already begun giving excuses of why it may have been us. One of them being that this is allegedly may have been an outdated previous target, which has also been debunked, but would also be a point in the column of, I thought we were the precision guys. We get in, we get out. They literally, America dropped like literally you don't have anything but in that case, Farab, how do we know any of this is true? If we can go to this level of conspiracy, how do we know the Ayatollah wasn't actually like a super dope dude and that everything we've ever seen ever hasn't just been American propaganda made by Donald Trump? How do we even know that was the Ayatollah? How do we know Donald Trump has a penis? I don't know any of these things.
I heard it's small.
To answer that question, like, I have a question. I would like to ask it for Ari. Like, I'm just curious, like, what we should answer. So my question is, like, I can clearly see that you. Sorry, I apologize. I butchered your name. I can see that you are condemning the Iranians who. Like killing Iranians by the U.S. Tomahawk missile. My question is, would you also condemn the 12,000 Iranians dying by the IRGC? Because I don't feel that your side.
He's asking you because he already knows my response to this. He's hoping I won't respond to the fucking psychopathic perception he has that there's a punch card system, that for every person the Ayatollah killed, it's acceptable for Donald Trump to match with a civilian death.
Yeah, except we're already at 1,200 civilian deaths in Iran. No, sir. That's
just
not
known
okay.
death. That's just confirmed, by the way. It's way more.
Yeah, these are just known. The only confirmed deaths. Okay, Farab. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer it. Okay. Here you go.
Sure. Okay.
We only have a confirmed of about 7,000 civilians being killed by the IRGC in Iran, and it's absolutely deplorable. No, it's not acceptable, but neither is it acceptable to kill 158 schoolgirls and actually bomb 2 other schools. I don't know if you knew that, Jimmy, but we've actually bombed 3 school sites. Just 2 had no injuries. We also bombed a fucking hospital, sir. For the United States of America literally engaged in war crimes because they double tap that area. So no. Also, like, I'm sure I'm sure there's no love lost for you when it comes to Israel. But to be clear with them, they're also actively engaging in war crimes in Lebanon by utilizing white phosphorus.
So my
No, none of
now I
that's
want to ask
acceptable.
that if it's not acceptable, how should we get rid of this regime? Because this regime cannot exist. Because
You've already,
unless you
hey,
don't give me unless you don't give me a better way to get rid of this regime, I literally don't have any other choice. Yes.
How do I get rid of the dictator in Russia?
Farav, we already addressed this. You
Yes.
just aren't capable of recognizing that these points cross over. It's not just a matter of how we do, it's also a matter of how we don't. And claiming there is regime change, as you already acknowledged, didn't work in Lebanon when Netanyahu, now is the time, doesn't work in Iran. The people are not empowered, and the United States is not willing to make guarantees to the Kurds.
Okay.
So
what if we
you
don't
can say
do that plan? And
what is
if we
acceptable?
do what
Stop.
we did in
I'm not
Germany
done,
and,
Farav. Farav, I'm not done.
Sorry, apologies. Okay,
You're saying,
apologies.
is it acceptable for those deaths to be happening? We say no. You go, how do you stop it? There's probably an answer. There's certainly an answer to support it. But what isn't the answer is let's go kill people, but not meaningfully change the country that stops the deaths. None of the reason we are there is to stop Iranians from dying. It is to empower Israel further.
Yep.
It is to serve their financial needs and probably long-term, more long-term, though it may not be as long as it seemed like, take some sort of dominance in the Strait of Hormuz with Israel. That's what it is for. They have no intention. So, Farav, if they have a way to achieve those goals without saving a single additional civilian life, they will do that. They are not there to save civilian lives. Period. Period.
What if the solution is not to be like, okay, we don't do the war, but the solution is that we are going to do the war, but not for Israel, not like this, but do it right. Because as I said, you done it right in Germany, Japan, and Italy. Why cannot you just repeat what you've done over there? Because yes,
that was World War II where we got bombed. Farav.
Right. Literally, you're talking about World War II where we only went because we got bombed. And then we did unspeakably Then we did unspeakably terrible things. And lots of people died. And because there was a clear path and a requirement, it wasn't just America. There's a reason why Europe is not joining with this shit in Iran. And there's a reason why the white supremacist at the top of Donald Trump's security apparatus, Joe Kent, resigned today, saying that the Iran threat was fully a lie. There's a reason for all of that. So like the idiot conservative non-believer who's like, they have defended Hitler against it's so fucking dumb because we've already been over it. The way I would not have supported America intervening in Germany would have been, let's just kill as many people until our financial interests are served. If we went to Germany the way we went to Iran, the Nazis wouldn't have fallen. We would have just been in a more financially advantageous place after, and then left the Nazis in power there. That's what the comparison is.
Okay, do you think that the way that we are in Iran is wrong, but the way that we were in Germany was right? Okay, so I'm saying maybe we shouldn't say.
You are way oversimplifying. In fact, there's a great many things we did in World War II that were very wrong. The atomic bombs were extremely wrong. Dropping 2 bombs on a country that was already going to quit the war and killing that many civilians in a single breath, that was fucking we were the fucking bad guys.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a fan of what happened with the nuclear weapon either.
Farav, let me ask you this. You want to keep going back to World War II and the Axis powers, okay? I'm going to ask you a couple of series of questions. Perhaps you know the answer. Was it brought up to Congress to enter the war prior to the bombing of Pearl Harbor?
No, but I don't see how is that
Incorrect. Congress voted against the United States joining the World War II prior to the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Then it created an existential threat for the United States to join after the Japanese bombed the Pearl Harbor. Now, who is Iran partnered with to try to take over the world or take over the Middle East?
Iran itself is trying to take over the Middle East. Iran is
No. Who are they partnered with, sir?
funding
Sir, you listed
Hamas,
Germany.
Hezbollah.
I'm still no. Stop. You listed Germany, Italy, and Japan as why don't we do to them like why don't we do to Iran like we did to Germany, Italy, and Japan, also known as
Yes,
the
successful regime
Axis powers. Okay, so
Yes.
who is Iran partnering with to take over the Middle East?
There's literally something called axis of resistance.
No. Who are they partnering with to take over the Middle East?
I'm not sure how is that relevant to my argument.
Doesn't matter. You answer our questions. You're on our show. Doesn't matter whether you know where we're going with it.
As I said, they're partners with the terrorist groups known as Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, Assad regime until it
Cool,
was
I
in
guess
power.
so. How are they partners? How are they partners with them?
Iran gives all the weapons, provide all the weapons.
Oh, they give them weapons and they give them money, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, so
as long as that regime
is Israel hold on. Is Israel also partnered with Hamas then?
It was at one point.
It was at one point. Are they also partnered with Hezbollah?
No.
Oh. How about Saudi Arabia? How about Saudi Arabia? Are they also partnered with Hezbollah or Hamas?
Yes. Saudi Arabia actually no. They do support other terrorist organizations like MAGA. I'm not a fan of that either. Actually, do have this criticism.
How about Qatar? How about Qatar? Are they also partnered with Hezbollah and Hamas?
I believe that yes. Qatar at one point did give them some monies and funding, and yes, I'm not a fan of Qatar either. Don't think that I support.
How about the United States of America? Are we also partnered with these terrorist organizations?
Partner with terrorist organization?
Yeah.
I mean, I do. Okay. I do have this issue with the U.S. foreign policy that why do you support Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia supports MK? And
we're not going down that hole. I'm asking you a very pointed question. Is the United States also partnered with these terrorist organizations?
Historically, yes.
Yeah. So what's your point on bringing that up? They're not partnered with them. By your logic, the entire world is partnered with every single terrorist organization because in some way, shape, or form, we have either armed them or funded them.
How is that relevant to,
Yeah, no, this circles all the way back to my question. Who is Iran partnered with to take over the rest of the world?
They're not planning to take over the rest of the world. They're planning to, I mean, not at the moment, because they generally in their ideology is that eventually they do want to, export Islam wherever they can.
Where's that written down?
Right? But for now, they're focusing on destruction of Israel. Then they will probably destroy Sunni monarchies. Then they will go to the West. But at this point, it sounds fictional, and they might never even get there. But it is in their ideology to export their idea, their version of Islam everywhere. And but yeah, they are they're funding this terrorist organization to literally wipe Israel, your ally, off the map. I don't understand how is that so easy. Say whatever you want about the Israeli government.
I love Faraf 30 minutes in, and your position is, I don't understand why you're saying it's okay for Iran to wipe Israel off the map. It's like,
didn't say that
I guess
at all.
it's you conceding, Faraf.
I didn't say that.
You just said that. You said, I don't see why they're trying to wipe Israel off the map. I don't see why you think that's okay, or something along those lines. Faraf, I think you've conceded. You've now had to go, I've lost so bad, I'm just going to make up what your position is.
Okay. So, answer my question. If you are not okay with Israel being wiped off the map, what is your solution? Do you have any other solution than toppling that regime?
Again, Farav, we're here discussing what the solution they've presented is and whether or not it's working. So you're acting like you're asking me for an alternative as though that is what is succeeding. And it wouldn't be by killing a bunch of people that don't actually change the level of safety at all. Again, Joe Kent resigned today. Joe Kent is a white supremacist, super MAGA, no fan of brown Muslims at all, because he said he can't stay in his role when the Iran threat was a lie.
Whenever you fight evil, whether it was during the World War II or the American Civil War, some people died. So many Union soldiers died in the Civil War. But we don't, no one said that it's a bad thing because soldiers died. No, because eventually the result of that war was the liberation of the slaves, right?
Hey, after World War II, were the Nazis still in power?
No. And that's my point.
After Operation Iraqi Freedom, who took power? Who runs Afghanistan right now?
That's an example of a failed regime change. Doesn't mean that regime change is a bad thing.
The one, a neighbor regime change. Our point is, if we go and we take a look at how we fought World War II, again, where we committed great evils, but we're the less evil side.
Yeah, less of the two evil, exactly.
Right, but still evil. Let's remember, still evil. The atomic bombs we dropped were unnecessary. They were already looking for a way out. And once the Soviet Union joined, the war was over. But we dropped 2 atomic bombs. So we're not even like evil, less evil, and differently evil. We were genocidal fucking maniacs.
What the fuck is that noise in the background,
Stop
by the way?
fucking with that straw right into your mic. That's crazy.
It's
okay. I apologize.
It's been bothering me for a moment.
We were genocidal maniacs is what America was in World War II. But, you know, we didn't kill. How many total people did the Nazis kill? In concentration camps, it was like 10 to 12 million, and then like way many more over that. Our death toll was lower. Still genocidal and still fucking giant pieces of shit. And then we're like, yeah, we're the good guys. We went and fought the fascists. We fought the Nazis. And by the way, when I go home, there are towns being built for military people to move into unless you're black. So even if you are a black guy who fought the Nazis, but we're better than the fascists, even as we return our black veterans to impoverished neighborhoods and white veterans to neighborhoods. Yeah, I'm from one. That's where my family is from, Levittown, Long Island. It is still on the city code right now to this day. And my grandpa was a D-Day paratrooper, and that's why we lived there, was because he wanted a nice military town, guaranteed financing. He fought in the war. We take care of our people. On the city code today is that you are not allowed to sell property to black people. It's not enforced, but it's still there. You can watch videos on YouTube of people in Levittown talking about the first black people moving into their neighborhoods and whether or not they think it's okay. So basically, you're sitting here and going like, hey, these wars where it was terribly evil. And right now, we're not even doing it the same way. We are not doing it in a way that suggests we are giving the power to somebody other than if it was World War II, the Nazis, or now the regime of the Ayatollah. Therefore, you must just be okay with the status quo in Iran. I'm not okay with the status quo in Iran. I'm not okay with the status quo in North Korea. I'm not okay with the status quo in probably most countries in this world. But when and if it is okay to spend billions of dollars in taxes to go to war that the people don't support, and who we prioritize for those regime changes, first of all, shouldn't be picked by a foreign entity like Iran. And second of all, I don't want to hear it from the party who says we can't afford fucking healthcare. I don't want to hear about how we're liberating and we're taking care of the suffering in America or in Iran, and that's what we're really doing when there's no sign that that is happening. that where there is signs the suffering is increasing. And in America, we still have 1.2 million veterans living below the federal poverty line, as well as tens of millions more Americans living below the federal poverty line. So America doesn't care about alleviating sufferings. Miss me with that bullshit. We're not doing regime change. We are setting up the economic interest of billionaires and of Israel, because that's what America actually is. Not the good guys. They are the billionaire security force. Period. End of story.
Do you think that since you mentioned domestic economic issues in the U.S., don't you think that if the situation in the Middle East gets fixed, if there is not a regime that threats Israel, then you won't have to put so much money into Israel for the safety, with all those weapons and the money that you give to Israel, and all those monies can be spent on the U.S.?
Let me ask you this real quick, because you keep asking this and you keep phrasing that question very specifically at the beginning. Why is it the United States' job to fix a foreign country in the Middle East and how they are governing?
Because if you don't do that, world is not safe. And we share a planet, whether you like it or not. So if you're on,
why is it the United States' job to become the world police?
Because if the United States doesn't do that, China and Russia will become the world's police, and we don't want that.
Okay, then why hasn't Russia or China ever done anything about Iran and their fascistic regime?
Because they're busy in Ukraine and Taiwan.
So they have no time to be the world's police. So even if the United States of America stopped being the world's police right now, today, Russia and China don't have the time by your own logic. So let's try this again. Why is it on the United States?
Russia's also way more involved in the Middle East than Farab is apparently aware.
Apparently. So why is it the job of the United States of America to be the world's police? You've already had to concede at this point that Russia and China don't have the time to do it. So why is it the United States' job?
Because if no one polices the world goes to chaos, and
the world goes to chaos. So why is it on the United States? You're not answering. Why is it on the United States?
Because United States is only I don't want to say moral country, but at least only liberal democracy with the power to do that. And
that's not true. There's 31 other countries that definitely have liberal democracies, and that's just if you include NATO countries. If you look at the rest of the world that are non-NATO countries, they also have liberal democracies across the entire world. South America, Australia, plenty of countries in Africa.
Liberal America who's this imperialistic.
Is the only liberal democracy
is it that we're imperialist? Ooh, that's not a good sign either.
It's crazy too, man. You literally support Donald Trump. China is going to become the #1 superpower because of Donald Trump. Right now, Ukraine is fucked because Donald Trump just started funding Russia again in Ukraine. As you're saying, you recognize the problem with Ukraine, and yet you are behind this president so much. It's wild, the places that you put your allegiance, even as it eats your own face. The leopard is here and you're delicious, because that's literally what is happening. And it's, again, we're talking about, yes, being the world police and all of that, but we're not installing liberal democracy, and we don't. That's not what we do.
Do you think Venezuela is free right now?
That doesn't mean that Iran cannot be free.
No, that's
okay,
not.
When's the last time wait. America does this kind of shit a lot. When's the last time they succeeded?
As I said, Germany, Japan, and Italy.
Okay. And as I pointed out to you, and you have yet to actually say I'm wrong, nothing about this war looks like what we did in Germany, which took the world on our side. And everything, excuse me, Farav, and everything about this war looks a lot like the other examples we've been giving you. There's way more parallels to what happened in Lebanon, Iraq, Afghanistan. Way more parallels to that shit than there is to Germany in World War II. If we took this approach with Germany in World War II, we would leave more financially divested, but the Nazis still in power.
As I said, if that's the case, the solution is not to leave Iran. The solution is to do it right. You're saying that because
whatever you think doing it right is, Donald Trump isn't going to do. You are MAGA. You support Trump. Donald Trump does not support the Iranian people. He supports the financial interest of Iran. He supports taking that and supporting Israel. To a degree that's like creepy. I don't know what pictures Netanyahu has of him, but it's not nothing. It's getting fucking crazy. See, they've got something on him. Actually, honestly, the simplest answer is Donald Trump rapes kids, and we're at war in Iran with no interest in liberating the people because we want to distract from the fact that Donald Trump rapes children. So we're killing children. We're killing little girls to distract from the fact that he put his dick in them.
As much as I would love the scenario of Germany be repeated instead of Iraq, but to be really honest with you, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but as much as Iraq war went bad, I would actually, what happened to Iraq, since Iraq kind of looks not as bad as people say, it looks better than era of Saddam Hussein. So whatever Trump brings, I cannot imagine a regime worse than a theocracy.
You gotta love, even if somehow that point was true, America installed Saddam's Iraq. Oh, the Middle East was molded by us. 9/11 was caused by us. Like everything that the war on terror was fought over was our chickens coming home to roost. So even if you were correct, and you're not, even if you were, you're like, I liked what America did the second time they decided Iraq was theirs. And it wasn't even just the second, but we're just comparing Saddam versus the first time when the result was Saddam. Because we're the good guys. We're the goodies. Fucking crazy. Farav, even though we don't have another MAGA more capable or in general on hold, I have no more interest. You have like 10 seconds to make your last point.
The pretzeling was crazy.
Yo.
As I said, the idea that top-down regime changes don't work, in my opinion, is to a great degree a propaganda, and there has been historical examples of it that work.
You did almost 10 seconds on the dot. Excellent. Goodbye, Farav. Jesus Christ. We have a little bit more time, MAGA. If you call, you'll get on. If you can call and explain this to us, I'm going to put a poll in the chat. Is Trump a good president? I want to see if anybody still believes it, because I don't believe any of you believe it. I don't even think Farav believes it. I don't think Farav thinks Donald Trump, as he says, yes, this is bad. We should do it the right way. He doesn't believe Trump's going to do it the right way. Does he think I'm going to talk Trump into it if the leftists suddenly are like, Trump, couldn't you do it differently? And by the way, it's kind of like trying to say we should do World War II after the atom bombs drop. You've now taken us out of the potential of doing it the right way. You could only potentially say maybe we could do it the better way than we were going to do before, but we have already fucked this place up. And we owe, if we somehow, the other thing that's going to be crazy is how much it would cost. If we actually were going to do it a just way, with all of the infrastructure destruction and everything too, after we got done and now the people have taken over, we would owe them tremendous reparations. Like the amount of money we would owe them for them to be able to fix up their country. And this is where America would fail too. America would go, no, now we're stopping. We're good. Yep. We freed the slaves. We're not going to give them good paying jobs. That's the history of America. We freed the Iranians. We destroyed their infrastructure. We're not going to help them rebuild. They're going to die exposed to unsanitary conditions in the slums that we created.
I'm
Like,
going to personally call out James in my TikTok chat. James, call the
When are you
number on
gonna
the
call?
screen.
Come on,
Yeah.
James. I'm a James too. It could be James versus James, Jimmy versus Jim.
Let's go. Yeah, call
Let's
the
do it.
number on the screen. Stop being a little pussy.
There's somehow 5% of my live chat saying Donald Trump is a good president. I don't think you really mean that. I think that you maybe are trolling. I would like one of you to call and explain to me how. Because again, I obviously think Donald Trump is a bad president from the perspective of a leftist. But I think Donald Trump is now also a bad president from the perspective of a MAGA, that he broke the promises he made getting into office. I don't think he's delivering on affordability. The things you guys were all saying, literally, I'm not joking. I would ask people time and time again, what has Donald Trump done good? They said immigration. You guys have backed off immigration. Well, it's better than nothing, but he's gone too far. That's like your best version of it. Okay. So he's fucked up on immigration. Affordability. None of you don't pretend things are more affordable now. Get the fuck out of here. And then it was always gas and no new wars. Gas is going up and we're in a new war. So I just don't believe y'all that the 5% of people of the 300, that 15 people in this live chat actually think Donald Trump is a good president. I'm not buying it. I think that he's still your guy. You're still on his team. You're still on team, just not Kamala. I'd rather all of this terrible stuff happen than Kamala Harris be president. It's just fucking crazy. We did this one. God's the Sinner says, I just like peanut butter. Wanted to hear my chosen name from Caracal. Jeff Thomas says, Jimmy, you thrive off of capitalism. Oh my God, Jeff. I just hope that this is a joke. Because I don't even feel like going off on my spiel once again that despite living in a capitalist world, in a capitalist country where I can't escape capitalism and still need to thrive, I turn my back on being rich as a solo creator to create a community-style company that pays its workers on a socialist model. In fact, an unfair socialist model, because I actually do not deduct losses. So if we lose, Ari's profit share for this episode will be paid against what the episode makes. Not what the episode makes minus the producer's cost, minus the cost of the call-in system, any of that. She just gets a percentage of what it makes without any expenses removed. I don't even take losses out of the profit share. You're talking to the wrong one, Jeff, and I don't know how you would think after you've been schooled on so many things to the point you've had to change your mind on things like universal health care, that this will be the thing you say that isn't dumb. Green Man Dave says, you said it after I sent it, so here you go. Thanks, Green Man. Paying the German tax.
Jeff, this is one of my other sources of income that I had to tell you about. Well, I didn't have to. I did. It's like I have multiple sources of income, not because I want to, but because it's a necessity.
Right. Yeah, no shit. Doing this job for me, Hank Green talked about this. He had Crohn's disease. I don't have Crohn's, but I've got medical stuff that is as significant. I don't know what other job I could have done and just met the bare minimum. Literally, like working for people in places on schedules that you have to be at regularly and be chipper and an active laborer from set times in advance or whatever. Those types of, this is like the job I could do. If YouTube disappears tomorrow, I'm probably destitute. Like, and no one will care because that's the life we live. Anyway, let's see. Space Barbarian, is it okay if we join the Blue Oyster cult? All right, as a treat. I'll hit the like on that so I know where we left off.
Okay.
Actually, let me do 3 more real quick because I want to make sure we get, just in case I want to make sure we got Arcane in. Go ahead.
Jesse, call the number on the screen because by the logic that you just typed in the chat, Afghanistan war was not a war, Vietnam war was not a war, the Korean war was not a war, the Iraqi war was not a war, the Gulf War was not a war. By your logic that you just typed in my chat, they were never wars.
Shit's crazy.
Because you said and, not or.
I think you give away too much sometimes, by the way. I think sometimes you say call, and you should set it up for that's going to be the first point you share, but make like try and like, do you know what I'm saying? I think everybody does
Yeah.
it but me. And obviously that means I'm the best. I'm just kidding, but I think I'm a little better at fishing. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I
Probably
can't
are.
help myself. Sometimes I can't help a rant about what you just said was so dumb. In the case of Jeff, I responded because I don't care for Jeff to call in this time. DI Founder says, wool is the rage with backpackers, sun hoodies, and cold weather base layers. It can feel like t-shirt, sweater yarn, and most dress suits are wool. Oh, that's interesting. FeistyBot said, hurt his princess feelings. And Arcane Goat says, auf einmal es tut mir leid zu hören, dassen Ilhan Schleck get. All of a sudden, I am sorry to hear you are nauseous, is what that means.
Oh,
All right,
that's a nice
we'll put
one.
it there, and we'll talk to Mitchell in Hawaii. Mitchell in Hawaii, you are on the line with Jimmy and Ari. Mitchell, how are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm just peachy.
All right.
So what's up, Mitchell?
Not too much. The prompt, I guess, was, is Trump a good president or not?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or okay. Is that the conversation we're talking about right now? I just jumped in.
Is that the topic you'd like to speak on? We'd talk on anything we disagree on. I think that Donald Trump is a bad president by my evaluation as a leftist, as my evaluation as an American, and I actually think he's not even good by MAGA standards.
Okay. All right.
Is that what you'd like to talk on?
What is? I mean, we can talk about anything. I used to follow politics a lot, but I'm much too busy these days. And but I
okay.
I stand more on principle than I do on actual, like, was this decision or that decision made, so on and so forth. But I was you know, like all the baby raping and stuff like that. I mean, we both know that there's no direct evidence of any of that, so that's a non-starter. But as far
do you want to hear why, Mitchell? Do you want to hear why I feel I have no qualms about stating it? Sure. Okay, so recently, and this is why you also have Congress people starting to say it, there was an individual whose accounts of other people have been verified. And we also know that accounts related to her, documents that were produced related to her, are some of the documents that haven't been released and that the DOJ is claiming to be holding because of open investigations. The DOJ, however, was also instructed by Congress to not block anything for the purpose of defending Donald Trump. This woman, who other accounts were confirmed, is the woman who claimed at 13 years old to remember Donald Trump because when he assaulted her, he said something, she didn't like him. So she bit his dick, and the thing she remembers about him was that it enraged him and he beat her. And there are other details of her testimony that they have confirmed about the geography and everything. And so it seems to be the case that Donald Trump is purposefully covering that specific account up, whether it happened or not. The DOJ, again, because Congress people have confirmed that documents related to that person, as well as a great many other people that they know already exist, are not included. You might remember the names that they gave out. And so the most reasonable answer is Donald Trump and his DOJ are at minimum protecting child rapists, but consistent with many other things about his character, about his relationship with Epstein, about things he said about women and his clear disrespect for women. I have no problem with all of that saying, I believe Donald Trump did. And by the way, this is a recent development since that account I told you. Before I said it's looking like he may have. I now would say I'm on the side of the most reasonable conclusion is that he raped kids.
Okay.
Yep.
And as somebody who with family very high up in the intelligence, I can tell you that whether or not that did or did not happen, we will never know.
I disagree.
Well, and that's
one. Your account of having somebody high up in intelligence doesn't bother me either. I think we all do.
And it
doesn't affect me at all because that's just a claim. That's just a claim that I reject outright because you're obviously not going to prove it. And second of all, we already know more than we did know because of some of the people going in and seeing the redacted files. So what is potentially still left in those redacted files that would drive Nancy Mace, of all people, not exactly a moderate, an absolute radical MAGA, to subpoena Pam Bondi today? I would say that I don't accept that. We'll never know if it happened.
Well, so presidents can individually classify things up to a certain level. And so, for instance, Obama classified a bunch of personal information, some other information. Bush classified, and the level of classification. So a president can put a level, and I believe it's called like a TS-17 or something to that degree. It's TS, but it's got a number, but it's a classification, which basically means that our grandkids will be declassified in about that amount of time, unless they choose to continue the classification.
Sure, but if you called me 2 months ago, you would have been saying that is true of the names of like other world leaders as well that they're protecting, and yet we now have the names of some of those world leaders. It's caused more problems for Prince Andrew, and there was that Sultan who was ousted by his government for being revealed. So again, I'm not just accepting. I understand
100%. Right.
That especially if we have the awful outcome of the Republicans winning the midterms and then the next presidency, it could become harder. They might even be destroying files, so there's no files to ever uncover. So we need to, as expediently as possible, use every power there is. And I don't accept that we just won't ever know, nor do I find the testimony of the woman who bit Donald Trump's penis, allegedly. I don't find a good reason to doubt it. Again, because so much otherwise has been confirmed.
I already reject Mitchell's first premise where he said, there's no evidence, right? And I don't think he realizes that the majority of rape cases that are seen in court are literally he said, she said cases.
Yeah.
And so therefore they don't have evidence because a rape kit only proves that intercourse occurred.
Right. The no evidence would be like no evidence of what? DNA?
There's no tangible evidence that anybody can
I disagree
legally and
what's tangible
and legally obtain.
What's tangible?
What does that word tangible mean?
I mean, it could. Well, I mean, we could talk about a written testimony. We could talk about confessions. Things like that. Tangible meaning that it's a testimony or it's an account or even witness testimony. I mean, because let's face it. If there were, like for instance, let's look at all of the survivors that are around, right? All of these survivors, and only maybe one or two of them have actually, had an opportunity or have been approached by the media to share their accounts. So there's something else going on, right? There's obviously something else going on, because let's say that there's 50 survivors that all got together. Nobody's giving them the time of day. They're not going out and testifying. They're not being called to the Hill. They're not being interviewed
you're not
by
correct.
Police. They're not
There's
even
a
being
lot
approached.
there are a lot of media places that are giving them the time of day, but I will give you that when Congresswoman Jayapal, when Congresswoman Jayapal had a crowd of women standing behind Pam Bondi in her hearing and asked them as victims of Jeffrey Epstein to raise their hand if they have never been contacted by the DOJ, all of those women rose their hand. I agree that the American DOJ is not giving them a time of day.
And the FBI, because they said the same thing with the FBI.
But when you have dozens of women who are detached from each other, when you have dozens of women who are detached from each other with confirmation that at times in the past they had disclosed to people that they had been sexually assaulted by Donald Trump, or that Donald Trump walked in on them naked at one of his pageants, with people alleging that that's not just the adults at the pageants. And you have there's consistency to these stories, and they aren't together to conspire. But you're saying, well, that's not tangible evidence. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just am not buying it. That's one of the things with testimony-based things is if you have multiple people who weren't conspiring, both confirming things like patterns or events, it does start to look a lot more suspicious.
Well, and I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is, for instance, Hillary with the cum stain genes that came back that she got a child rapist off with, right? Because they sampled the genes, not the patch on the genes or whatever, those types of things. So there's unless there's video or something like that. But the reason that I genuinely believe that
Hillary
the FBI,
with
the DOJ,
genes.
that
Yeah, I've not heard that one before.
Right. All right. I'm very stuck on this. Are you talking about the blue dress from Monica Lewinsky, or what is it you're talking about? Hillary.
No.
And genes?
There was. This happened a long time ago. So somebody, Hillary was always talking about how she was a lawyer and so on and so forth. Somebody called out Hillary and said, you haven't.
Okay, for the record, what you said. Hang on, real quick, Mitchell.
Right. So
you said Hillary got someone off with cum stained jeans. That did not give the imagery that Hillary got a person off of a legal case. I believe Ari and I both thought you were accusing Hillary of getting cum on her jeans when she was getting someone off.
Oh, no.
Quite a different thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different thing completely. I'm now less interested.
Yeah. She defended some child rapist in some account at some point, and so they had the genes, and then apparently they circled the spot that they were supposed to sample on the genes. The lab sampled outside of the circle or some other part of the genes, but not the circle. And when they sent it back, they said there was no match. And she laughed about it.
No match of what?
Said, haha, that,
no match of what?
There was no DNA. There was no DNA match or they couldn't find any semen or something.
What year was this?
But anyways.
Actually, hold on. This is actually a good one. What was her position? A long time ago. What was her position? Was she just a regular defense attorney, or was she a public defender?
All right, let me finish that real quick.
Okay.
I mean, what year was it? You're getting like, I don't know the year, but there was an interview where Hillary.
Yeah.
Hillary
it was before Bill was president, correct?
I'm sorry.
It was before Bill was the president, correct?
Yeah, this was.
And Bill became president in 1992. So. I'm going to let you and Ari finish it here in a moment. But in the future with examples, you're going to want to make sure you know the details.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling that in the 80s, when Hillary was a practicing attorney, they weren't testing for DNA.
Well, they were, regardless of what it was, they were testing for semen, or they were testing for blood.
Sure, the presence of
I think
semen.
It may have been blood.
But it wouldn't have been a DNA match they were getting. So I'm just saying, like, that might have been a better thing if you're going to say cum-stained pants. When did we even have the ability for crime labs to sequence DNA? Late 90s?
Well,
earliest instance being utilized in a case was 1985.
I think it was earlier than that, but
1985. Yeah, I just said it. So in
it was
1975,
not common though until literally. I'm talking like lab in. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it was they utilize serology is what they were looking at. That's what the term for it. So in 1975, what was Hillary Clinton's position with this case?
I do not know. She was an associate defense attorney or something to that degree.
An associate defense attorney, or was she a public defender?
She may have been a public defender, but I think the semantics.
No, it's not semantics. It's not semantics. I mean, you're the one that brought this up. So if you didn't want a semantical argument, don't bring something else. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I'm going to go down this line with you. In 1975, when she was a public defender, no, just asking you a couple baseline questions. In 1975, when she was a public defender, do public defenders just get to pick their cases that they're defending? Or are they assigned?
I mean, they're assigned, but what does that have to do with anything?
Cool. Well, I mean,
The
it's
whole
not
reason MAGA people, once I realized you weren't talking about her jerking somebody off, the whole reason MAGA people love to bring up this example isn't like, the reason you know of this example is because people use it as, and Hillary's the kind to defend child rapists. Like,
No,
that's
that
why
doesn't
it
have
comes up
anything to do
with
with it.
the
No,
Epstein stuff.
Well, you know, while Donald Trump literally appointed, like, endorsed a candidate in North Carolina that had actually assigned someone that pled guilty to 5 instances of indecent contact with a minor in 1999, and his I'm not done. Literally, Mitchell, shushies. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyways, so I think the guy's name is Mark in North Carolina that's running for Senate up against Roy Cooper. And he appointed someone to District 1's GOP position that was convicted, or sorry, again, pled guilty of 5 counts of improper touching of a minor. And his sex registry fell off in 2016, but the guy still employed him. Mark still employed the guy.
Registry doesn't fall off that I'm aware of. I don't think that registry ever falls off unless you have it expunged unless you get a legitimate pardon.
She already said it was a part of a plea deal. It was already, it was pled, so it would have been part of the plea deal. He pled guilty. Pled
guilty. He served, and he got out of prison in 2006, and a part of the deal was after he got out of prison, he had to be on the registry for 10 years. Some states are periodic and some are a lifetime. It literally, let's circle back to the 10th Amendment, states' rights.
So we're going to throw things out that we know we're going to operate as, even if you think you're trying to do it in passing and make some other point. Again, the reason why that point is brought up and you even know about it in the first place is it's used to be like, oh, don't forget, Hillary has a pattern of protecting sexual predators. Public defense, you literally have a right to a lawyer. Public defenders
years ago
are doing a tremendous public service. And unfortunately, sometimes they have to defend child rapists.
Yeah, and she apparently did everything she could to avoid the appointments, and she was literally just doing her job.
Yeah.
Sure. There's, you know what, the defense,
protecting the Sixth Amendment
are both doing their job, right?
Sorry, what was that? Who?
But I said defense attorneys and prosecutors are all doing their jobs, regardless of how they feel about it.
But the prosecutors represent the people. No, actually, prosecutors, it's not regardless of how I feel about it. Prosecutors are directed by how I and the people feel about it and to enforce our laws. Mm-hmm. Defense attorneys are actually only charged with defending their person.
But both of them
quite different.
Yep.
Well, they're different in that they're prosecuting or defending a case with alacrity and to the best of their ability, right? So they're both doing their jobs, right? Everybody has a job to do, right?
You used it to try and minimize the argument, and the difference in what their job is matters. It's actually very important that we give everybody the best defense they can get to maximize the number of innocent people who get off. The unfortunate cost of that is that some number of people who are not innocent will either get off or they will be insufficiently charged. And it is the two evils we have to choose between, and the better evil is a higher amount of guilty people out on the streets than a higher amount of innocent people in prison.
And that's that has its own list of problems. There's overcharging, there's charge stacking. There are prosecutors.
I know, I keep track of this crazy shit we do to black
break.
people in a country.
We do all kinds of crazy shit to all kinds of people, right?
Yeah, but disproportionately to black people, right? Like, that, right? That the things you're listing are disproportionately applied to black people, that you are more likely to be. It's funny, if you are black, you're actually more likely to eventually be found not guilty and let go, having spent time in jail, than a white person, because a white person requires a higher standard to get them in front of the judge in the fucking first place. And so more innocent black people, innocent black people are disproportionately going through the criminal justice system. And because of the way we stack it, talking about those unfortunate things before, not innocent white people aren't being subjected to the system in the first place.
Okay, well, let's talk. I mean, if we can talk about the fallout from that, because then what
It's
we
up to
have
you.
are
We can
people
go
who've
wherever you
been in
want.
front
I'm
of a
just
judge
bringing up.
17 or 20 or 30 times, who've been to prison, who've
They
been to jail
have
countless times, that
Yep.
continuously get let off to the point that they commit even more and more violent crimes. It's like broken
Yeah,
windows
no, hey,
policing.
I'm sorry. We were talking about the black people who have been treated unjustly and how disproportionately bad it is. What you just described is things falling through the cracks. You said 60 or 70 times. That I don't buy. Things falling through the cracks where already in America,
didn't say
if you
60
are
or
a rich
70,
white person, you can very well have never gone to in front of a judge anytime, despite committing very many more crimes. So you're now trying to move to like, I assume
we
you're going to
can
bring
talk
up
about the
Shelby or
degree of
something, or whatever
crime.
that girl's name was. These like exceptions and not addressing the actual thing, which was that innocent black people, the actual point, are more likely to have to go through the criminal justice system up to having to stand before a jury than innocent white people, and that in fact many guilty white people never get subjected to it disproportionately more often than
Rob
guilty
Turner
black people.
is a great example.
And your response to it was like, yeah, but there's examples of black people that you feel like weren't handled harshly enough. Well, that undoes all those problems.
Yeah,
No,
and
that's
the
not,
black
I think
population that
you're kind
does
of
get
missing my point.
convicted,
I guess
the
so.
individuals that are black that do end up getting convictions, they also have over an 80% post conviction exoneration rate,
Okay.
showing that they're overly policed and
if that's-
overly convicted.
So 80. So you're saying that 80% of all the blacks that are in prison at some
Black
point
people.
will receive, right? Of all the black men and women are 80% of them at some point should or will receive an exoneration.
No, that's not what we're
So there's
saying.
something like
We're
what? Like,
saying previously in the past, what we see is that they have an 80% exoneration rate. Of all exonerations, they make up 80% of all exonerations across all races. They make, because we
Okay.
can go through history, they make up like 80% of all exonerations that we see within the United States of America are black.
going how far back? Because there was a time where there were laws, there were actual laws against
Hey, Mitchell,
blacks, but that hasn't been around for
Mitchell, what are you doing a week from
40,
Sunday?
50 years. Yeah. What am I doing
At
a week
4
from
o'clock
Sunday?
Central.
I don't know.
Yeah.
At 4 o'clock Central. What would
Yeah.
that be? So that's 4 o'clock. I'm in Hawaii, so I think it's a 5-hour difference right now. I am going to be working at church.
Are you working at church for 3 hours?
I get in at 6 a.m. and I work parking and I set up all the cones and everything and I shuttle people to and from their cars. And we get out of church, so we wrap at about 12:30, 1 o'clock our time, which would be much
here.
later.
Okay, go. No, it's 6 here.
But
you said
but I
5-hour
can-
difference. If you're out by 5, we're done. That's 6 here, 4 to 7. So when you get out at 6, will you call back? Because I'd love to hear you have this discussion about black people and how they're treated, specifically with my co-host Javon, and return us three
Sure.
to the conversation about Trump. No, I'm really looking forward to it, Mitchell. I'm not even joking.
This is
Yeah.
Sure. No,
Not this
absolutely,
Sunday. He won't be
absolutely.
here this Sunday. A week from this Sunday.
Okay, I will. I'm going to
Put it on
in my
your calendar, bro.
right now.
I'm stoked for it.
I am literally doing that right now.
Yeah. Are you Mormon, Mitchell?
No, I'm not.
Just recognize a lot of that schedule from my own childhood.
We have 2 services at my church on Sundays and one
cool.
on Saturday. And so the first one is at 8:30, but it takes a little while, and then the second one is at 10:30.
If you want to call this Sunday, we'll do God stuff. Right now, we're going to stick to Trump. If you want to call this Sunday, I still want you to do the race call with Javon a week from Sunday.
Okay.
And this
All right.
Sunday, if you want to call back, we'll stick to Trump now. But if this Sunday you want to call, I'll be back on at that same time, and you can explain to me why it's reasonable to believe God exists.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
We're
right,
just almost out of
so-
time. We have 6 minutes left. So I want to return to why is Donald Trump a good president?
Okay. All right. So, so the Sunday after next, which would be the 5th?
Probably. That
or
sounds
no,
right.
the 29th.
Yeah.
29th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
At what time?
That's to call Javon. You can call it 6, but anytime.
What time Central?
4 to 7 Central is when we're live. We end right at 7, so don't call it 6:55. And that's every Sunday. So if you want to call this Sunday about God, I'll hear you out. And then the next Sunday to talk to Javon about race issues.
Okay. Javon.
I'll mute my mic. I'll let you guys do just one-on-one.
Okay. And then, all right, let me put in my notes here. Okay, I got it.
Are you Hawaiian?
No, I just
Oh, you just live there. No worries. Colonizer. No, I'm just teasing. Kind of. All right, Mitchell, why is Donald Trump a good president?
I don't think he's a good president. I think he's a necessary president in many ways. I think that he does dumb shit, and I think he does smart shit like any other president.
What's the smart shit he did?
The tariffs actually turned out to be pretty kick-ass, and because recent news just came out, what was it, today or yesterday, that all of the department stores, the large big box stores, they could have all eaten the cost, but instead they artificially inflated their prices on products that weren't even subjected to tariffs.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Mitchell. How did small businesses do with the tariffs?
I mean, it depends. There are some small businesses that make all their products just hear me out here. There's some small businesses that have grown exponentially as a result of the tariffs because they are 100% local, things like that. But there are other. Did
2025 set a new record for small business bankruptcies?
I don't know.
Oof.
No idea.
It's too bad you don't know, because the answer is yes, and economists link it directly to the tariffs.
We even had fewer businesses filing to open up.
Right. Yeah. You literally had, so tariffs stopped new businesses. Hang on, Mitchell. Tariffs stopped new small businesses and inhibited growth and then put out of business small businesses. But I'm glad you brought up big businesses because I'd like to explain to you what the tariffs did. And I think when you hear it lined out, you'll literally go like, right. How could it do anything else? So let's say you're in a small town like the town I'm in right now, which has a local grocery store and has a big chain grocery store. All right. So those are your two grocery stores. The tariffs go into place. Grocery stores, especially private ones, operate on small margins. They can't afford to keep it because they're a small business. They can't afford it. They close down. Now you think, well, Walmart would be hurt by the tariffs, right? Walmart's the big chain. Walmart's going to be hurt by the tariffs too. No. They buy more. Except while they're hurt by the tariffs, their competitor in that town just went out of business. So yes, they're paying more in tariffs, but small businesses are closing their doors and the customers are going there because they no longer have a choice. What you're describing as the tariffs actually worked out is I don't know who you're getting that from. Because the mass number of economists don't believe so. That was just on
CNBC. That was literally just on CNBC.
I very much doubt that you interpreted it correctly, or that if they had somebody on claiming it, doesn't mean that it represents CNBC. But I'm also a leftist, so what CNBC says, who knows what they're saying over there. The actual breakdown of it is large businesses actually succeeded because the tariffs put their small competition out of business. And of course it did. How could anything else have happened? Yes, their costs went up, but so did their customer base as their competition who couldn't afford the tariffs, who didn't have the money in the bank. They couldn't cover it. So I think, Mitchell, I would agree with a version of your sentence. Tariffs have turned out to be very good for the already rich. But what we can already see happening is that under this administration, the wealth gap is growing again. And disproportionately, money is being taken from the middle class and the poor and given more to the rich people. And it should be the opposite.
Okay,
The
that
Supreme
is
Court
a,
of the
that
United
is a
States ruled that the tariffs were unconstitutional against
Yeah,
Article
there's
1,
that too.
Section 8 of the United States Constitution, which directly gave Congress the power to levy taxes. And even though you want to say that corporations could have eaten it, congratulations, we live in a capitalistic society that encourages the
Mhm.
already wealthy to continue to be wealthy. Similarly enough, how when the TCJA was passed in 2017 to be enacted in 2018, the savings that corporations got by a 14% tax cut did in fact not trickle down to the lowly employees of those companies. They instead reinvested within their stock and shareholds, instead of investing into the people that actually make them money, sir. And no, when you're talking about
You're
CNBC,
100% right
you're
in that,
literally,
and
yeah, when you're talking about CNBC, you are quoting U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer and Treasury Secretary fucking Scott Bessent. You're not quoting any of the people on
okay,
CNBC. Congratulations.
right, but I mean, where does anybody from CNBC get their information from? They get it from officials.
No,
I
no, no,
mean,
no.
Data.
Wait, no,
I mean,
she's saying they
that's not
were
even
the
that's not even an
officials.
argument.
Wait. She was saying that
Right.
those were the officials saying it on CNBC. If Joe Navarro goes on CNBC and says the tariffs have succeeded, does that mean CNBC said it? Or does that mean Joe Navarro went on CNBC to say it?
I said it was on CNBC. I didn't say that CNBC that was their official position.
All right,
Because
fine.
a lot of those
I can't remember for sure.
I was asking
Right.
why it was true, like where you're getting it from, and in the more
Okay,
accurate
because-
thing, instead of citing the location, would have been who. Yes, I agree, Mitchell, that the administration claims the tariffs have been successful. Nobody else does,
Sure.
including a lot of right-wing economists. They think they are terribly dumb, and not to mention they were, you said they were very smart. He wasn't even able to do it in a way that was smart enough to be constitutionally legal.
Nope.
Well, and be that as it may, a lot of things are done until they find out that they're unconstitutional. I mean, that's
Okay,
part and parcel.
Doesn't
so
make
Mitchell,
it
do
right.
you
literally
deny that the
every
tariffs?
presidential
Do you deny that the tariffs disproportionately benefit the the wealthy and actually harm the poor?
I don't think that they help or hurt any more than higher taxes and higher regulations, because
That's very silly.
If
you
no,
don't believe- do you believe
because here's the thing,
Mitchell, indeed. No. Mitchell, if you said in other taxes, if we levied specifically a sales tax on goods that everybody
Okay.
uses, would that disproportionately hurt the poor or not? Would it hurt the poor more? So let's just say we're adding 10% nationwide, 10% sales tax to all purchases. Would that hurt the poor
so
more?
basically
Or would it hurt the
consumption
poor
tax.
just
So
as much
you're-
as it hurts the rich?
So you're saying a consumption tax as opposed to a general sales
A
tax?
sales tax. I just said a sales tax. A
That's
sales
not
tax.
consumption.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a general sales
tax.
tax. We add another 10%. The question is, would that disproportionately everything,
Yes.
including things rich people buy, does that disproportionately hurt the poor people?
Sure.
Those poor people will be paying those taxes instead of
Yes.
two companies who can afford to eat the cost of those taxes themselves, correct?
Well, I mean, it depends on their consumption, but there's lots of programs and things like that out there that
I wonder if you know
a
how
lot of
these
those
companies work,
things.
Mitchell. Hey, Mitchell, if a company
No,
makes
I
$1
do.
billion
I
every
do pretty
quarter
well.
for four,
Yep.
if for 4 years in a row, a company makes $1 billion in profit a year, is that company
that's
considered
net,
a success
right?
or a failure? Profit, $1 billion.
It's considered a success, obviously.
No,
Yep.
it is. No, it isn't.
Well, yeah.
Not if it's traded on the stock market. It's not. It's considered a failure, and you would get a new
Yeah,
CEO.
that's exactly. That's what I was
Because
going to say.
the way
yeah,
the companies are structured or not, you are successful if you are always profitable and everybody goes home with their checks paid. It's only if you make more profit than the time before. So disproportionately, these things that raise cost, the companies could eat the cost because they're profitable, but because they have to go and compete on the stock market, they don't. They go, let's figure out a way to make the consumers eat the cost. So whether that comes in the form of shrinkflation, we're not even going to let them know that they're actually spending. It's going to look like their prices are the same, yet their bellies will be less full. Or a myriad of other practices. At the end of the day, the cost gets moved along to the consumer. Consumers are disproportionately, the mass of them are middle class or poor. And so if you put on a sales tax, even a sales tax that affects the rich, not only will the rich be able to afford to pay that sales tax, they'll figure out a way not to pay it anyway at the cost of the poor and the middle class. This is why I'll never be a Democrat. And I'll never be a MAGA because neither of your silly parties are actually trying to address that shit. All of you are trying to keep billionaires powerful and the poor in their place, is what I think your perception is.
Not even in the slightest. So
you don't think MAGA is trying to keep clear separation of classes and a strong, robust poverty class as well as a less robust middle class, but make sure that those stay in place rather than try to lift all boats to something more equitable?
I mean, well, definitely not the one, but the latter's impossible. Because
Mitchell, would you support a system that eliminates the super rich if everybody was at the level of at least middle class? You could still be rich, but you can't be super rich anymore. But nobody has a quality of life lower than the middle class. Would you support that system?
No.
That's crazy to me. Really?
No. Because,
you would allow people to continue to be in poverty as long as super rich people could still exist. I'm not saying this system could happen. This was a hypothetical. If you want to re-answer, you can. If you had good reason to believe that eliminating the super rich, people making more than, let's say, $100 million a year. No, everybody's capped at $100 million a year. And now everyone is guaranteed a standard of living of essentially middle class. You've got a roof over your head, whether you work or not, legitimately. You at minimum have you have food in your belly, a roof over your head, you have medical care if you need it, you have access to the internet, utilities, all that kind of stuff. Would you support that system at the cost of eliminating the super rich?
Okay, so people that are making over $100 million a year, correct?
Yes, it's capped. You're not allowed to. Nobody gets to have $100 million more than $100 million. No, not a year. In total wealth, period. You don't get more than $100 million, period.
In total wealth.
Correct.
Now that includes stocks. That includes investments that have appreciated over time.
Yeah. You are capped at $100 million of personal value.
Okay, then no, hell no.
Crazy, Mitchell. I think not having poor people is more important than having no poor people is more important than having rich people. The uber rich.
Because here's the reason why. Because you haven't asked why. You just simply responded with crazy. All right.
You don't have time for why. That's part of the reason why.
Well, but the reason. Well, and I can sum it up in just a few few words here.
Right.
The people that are super wealthy have created a product or a service that many people have, like who?
No, they haven't. Not one. You have not one example. Correct.
Gates?
Bill Gates did not create the product. Bill Gates created an introductory product. His product is the result of a shit ton of labor that he has exploited from poor people. His product has been made by engineers that he's took credit for. Our 20% of our GDP goes to medical costs, literally goes to the medical industry, like almost 20%. Yep. And a lot of that is because there are people who buy tiny little patents on drugs and then they trade those patents on drugs for millions to billions of dollars. So the fact is we have drugs like GLP-1s that cost less than $10 for a company to produce a month's worth, less than $10, they charge over $1,000. What you are describing is that you would not give up on. You would not get. No, I'm talking about Novadisk. I'm talking about the people right now. GLP-1s, Manjaro, Ozempic, they cost less than $10 to produce a dose. Those companies have made more than their quote unquote investment back. The CEO, nobody in the apparatus of the financial people, the people who financially benefit from that are the people who invented GLP-1s. GLP-1s are probably the most important drug for us to massively distribute, to the point that we should just take them. We should take them from those companies, and if they try to stop us, we should kill them. That's what America should literally do, because they are literally killing Americans by not seizing those drugs and by being so greedy with them. I'm not telling anyone to do that. But I'm saying that's the America that would be just and would live in. That is the fucking shit that happens from your market capitalism that is literally like, no, let's keep the rich in place and pretend that they are wild inventors. They don't invent shit.
Well,
the person who made Elon's super cool rocket is not rich like Elon.
Well, but it's
that, and when
people that are
Elon
in charge
hires
of driving,
anybody
of running the countries, or the companies rather. You know,
sure.
Those are the people who have money, and their job is trading money.
And to keep it, because
I'm
like the reason why Elon Musk is so rich and why he has all of these different subsidiaries and different companies under him, and he's able to utilize that, is because when you become employed by Elon Musk, you sign a little contract that says that anything that you come up with while you're on business hours, while under his employment, is their proprietary information and not your own. It becomes their idea.
It's the same with all companies.
And that's wrong, Mitchell. It's not Mitchell. Excuse me. You said all companies. Yeah. I own a successful company. That is not true.
Yeah,
in fact,
it's like it's
not only is that not true, anyone who works here is allowed to use any of our IP that they appear in for sole profiting themselves. So Ari is allowed to take any clip she appears in, post it on her channel, take all of the money and not give it back to us. So don't all companies me, because I literally use a socialist pay model at my company, and everybody here is very satisfied.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, and I can tell you that I think in some situations that's great. No
hey,
worries.
Mitchell, I'll be back on Thursday again, same time.
Thursday or Tuesday?
Tuesday. I don't know what day of the week it is. Yeah, Mitchell, you're right. It's Tuesday.
We do gotta go. We're like 11 minutes over. Thursday. Thursday is a different time. Next Tuesday at the same time.
Tuesday. My days are all messed up.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
right,
guys. Well, hey,
thanks,
I tell you
what,
it was great talking with you guys, and you guys have a great rest of your evening, and we'll talk again soon.
All right.
And I will tell you, I'm going to give you a broadcast here, Mitchell. I want you to, next time I ask you, pretend I'm Jesus Christ asking you if you could eliminate the super rich so that no impoverished person suffered. Would you? Because to me, you're going to have a hard time justifying your answer so far using biblical Christian principles. Don't worry about Mitchell. Think about it and come back with it later. That's going to be my question. We don't have time to do it now. That's going to be the question.
I'm so glad I am not Jesus. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I am Jesus though. All right. We'll see you, Mitchell.
Now I'm Jesus because God is a woman.
Haha, I'm the Jesus now. Well, it doesn't make sense that Jesus is a man since he had no Y chromosome.
That's very true.
To believe the right on what a man is. He definitely was at best a clone of Mary. So he might have been trans though.
That's true. He's at least non-binary. So
man said, hell no, fa. I know that fa voice is fun, but I feel like Hassan has gotten it to disproportionately have it. All right, you can go ahead and go. I'm gonna do the I'll do the last of the super chats, but thanks for coming out.
Bye guys. It was nice being here. Bye.
I think Luthien, you're there now. Do you want to solo my video?
Yes.
Thanks, babe. Flipperty Giblet says, Jimmy, my girlfriend just texted me. Are you familiar with the soda businesses out in Mormon land? They're more common than Dunkin's. Any idea what she's talking about? Go fuck yourself. Yeah, there are. In the same way you see bars all around in a normal city, you see soda shops. And it's what it sounds like. It's a place you go buy super sugary soda drinks, but not, in some of them, not coffee or tea, because those are bad for you. But a Coca-Cola Monster Energy drink shooter, those are fine. Am I getting that right, Luthien?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're literally all over. They're They're what you imagine should exist sparsely for 14-year-olds who haven't grown up and started drinking coffee. BV Bacardi says, caller use a straw man. It was not very effective. I think that was, you're talking about not this last caller, but the one prior, I'm pretty sure. Campbell says, go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Thank you. Future Gravy says, thanks, Jimmy. Your tip on cholestyramine, 3 GIs and 10s of doctors, and no one suggested this day-to-day life is 100% better. Ari is amazing too. Future, if your experience is anything like mine, you're probably underselling it, I suspect. First of all, it legitimately makes me feel so good and emotional in a way that like nothing I've done in a long time, that somebody actually listened to that and went and asked their doctor about it. And that you are benefiting. I bet 100% better. Again, if it's even like a little bit like mine, that you're underselling it. And here's the thing for people who don't know. If you have been told you have IBS, and specifically you experience diarrhea that doesn't seem to only be triggered by things like lactose, that it seems like maybe high fat foods especially are getting you, ask your doctor. This is it. I actually need a little more water, babe. Would you grab me a little bit more water? I started mixing it and there wasn't enough water in my bottle. You drink it a number of times a day. I drink it 3 times a day. And the doctors out at the Mayo Clinic doing the research on it are now thinking that a lot of IBSD, potentially most, is actually caused by not that, but a thing called bile acid malabsorption. And it basically means that you're either creating too much bile for your body to reabsorb too quickly, and basically freaking out your colon, and that's why your body then floods it with water and causes you to have diarrhea, or you are having it, your body is not able to reabsorb its bile. And when that shit hits the colon, it freaks your colon out. And I was like basically, the bile acid malabsorption I was experiencing was making me beyond sick. And literally now I drink this 3 times a day. And not to give you all too much information, but I went from literally like a dozen instances of diarrhea a day to I've probably maybe had 3 instances since the first dose I took, as in like over a year ago, I think now. Like I guess, yeah, we're probably at like a year and a half now, I think. I think I started around the same time, shortly before my partner and I started dating. Is that correct? Or did I start cholestyramine when we were dating? Anyway, it'd still be around a year and a half.
Like right before.
So if you are of the IBSD variety, it is life-changing shit. It doesn't taste good. It's orange flavored. They put a little sugar in it, but its texture is terrible. They make a pill form. I never tried it. It's more expensive. And so I haven't tried it because it's just not worth it, because I've gotten used to it. What's my dirty soda order? I don't really have one. I can't drink carbonated water. We're about to find out, but so my intestines are a mess. My whole digestive system's a mess from multiple things. The bile acid malabsorption being something that was caused kind of early on by part of the problem, that at first was just mistaken for a sick gallbladder, which I had to have removed, not gallstones. I had to have removed for what's called biliary dyskinesia. Ended up being a part of a broader issue. Anyway, I'll be doing an upper endoscopy here very shortly to confirm the presence of a hiatal hernia as well as some other things. Because of the hiatal hernia, I basically can't drink carbonated beverages because it's causing the hernia to pass up above the diaphragm and cause pressure, and it makes me feel like I can't breathe even though I'm fine. So yeah. Anyway, there's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of shit like that. Shit. It makes me feel so good to know that anybody benefit from that. And legitimately, when I'm not trying to take credit for it, I'm just saying when Future Gravy says that their life is 100% better, 100% is nothing compared to how much better my life got after I started cholestyramine. Dirty soda. What would the dirty soda be if I could drink soda? I gotta think. So I like an Italian, like cherry limeade soda made with like syrups. But my guess is I'd probably say root beer with milk or cream would probably be the thing. The name of the medication, it's technically a resin. So what the resin does, this will actually help. What the resin does is it goes through your system, and when it comes into contact with excess bile, it neutralizes and bulks the bile. So it literally turns the bile into a solid that doesn't affect your colon. It's called cholestyramine. Yeah, anyway. It's really good stuff. It's life-changing. I will say, while not at the same level, I'm hoping it lasts. We just did these really strong intestine-targeted antibiotics, and I finally finished it on Sunday, and legitimately, like, since starting cholestyramine, it is the biggest change I have seen in my digestion since then, which means I probably was experiencing some type of overgrowth of bacteria that were being dicks. Evan sent $20 to write "I love you" in Russian. Thank you, Evan. Kaylee says, Hillary with the jeans boots with Hillary with the jeans boots with the fur. How many people thought he was talking about Hillary jacking someone off when he said got off somebody with cum-stained jeans or something? I'm like, fucking Christ. Dr. Mike just did a thing on cholestyramine. I hope that's what you're saying. That would be huge. He needs to. Legitimately, like, if you do the math, because they don't release the numbers of how many people they think specifically with IBS-D actually have bile acid malabsorption. They release how many people with IBS. And if you actually do the math on what percentage of people have IBS and then what percentage of people, because it would only be IBS-D that this would affect, specifically D, it probably comes out to like 80+% of people with specifically IBS-D actually have bile acid malabsorption. And it can range a lot. You can be at the low end of you only need 1 dose a day, maybe when you wake up. You can be like me, where I've gone through phases where I've needed 6 doses divided 3 times a day. Right now, I do 3 single doses a day. I've gone through phases where I need 6. The the antibiotics has literally cut that in half. That's how much different my stomach changed from it. I can just use way less. And guys, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say this, but like, I'm dropping logs is what changed. It wasn't diarrhea in the past, but it wasn't that. I mean, it's crazy. All right. Anyway, that's enough talking about poop. Last one here. Mad says, why does MAGA continue to defend what is obviously a failing government full of fascists? Forest rocks, fuck you, Jimmy, because cult think is very difficult to escape from. Oh, I just got to notice that Elon's tweeting happened again, and it's almost certainly going to be a person shitting on somebody who was trans and saying it's happening again, but completely ignoring all the times it happens that it is cisgender men, which statistically it almost always is, and is likely the president. Boots with the fur. I have heard of people with UC using cholestyramine. Inflera looking like surgery to say bye-bye colon. You know what's funny is I almost begged to get rid of mine right before we finally came across bile acid malabsorption, because even a lot of GIs don't know about it yet because it's kind of emerging. I was at the point where I was like, either they take this out of me or I'm ending myself. I can't do this much longer. So the good news is there's still a show and there's still the line because we found bile acid malabsorption. Sorry guys, I don't mean to bum you out, but I can't tell you it probably got kind of close to these things not existing anymore. It was so miserable. I went from shooting streams to dropping logs in less than a week. No, not that. I went from shooting streams to solid and sometimes logs in a day. The first day I did cholestyramine, I didn't have. The first dose I had, I didn't have any of my regular, literally the day before's diarrhea would have been the last time I had what my body was causing. Any breakthrough that's happened since then seemed to have been related to other illness. So, all right, everybody. Well, that's it. Thanks for almost 1,000 of you just stuck around to listen to me talk about my poop. And I love that because it's actually good information that I hope you guys took in and will share with other people who think they might have IBS-D to be screened for bile acid malabsorption. BAM for short. If you need to find it, BAM, BAM. All right. Thanks. That's the show. Bye.